And welcome to episode 19, volume 3 of the International Degenerates Podcast with me, your host, CCapNival20, my co-host, Beauty Nightmares, and my guest today, Hi-Fi. Welcome him, Hi-Fi. How are you doing, bro?
I'm good.
He's got his bell at the ready. Thank you for joining us today, man.
You have to put the bell closer to the mic when you do that. I didn't hear anything.
He's handsome, ain't he? He is handsome.
Your condenser is really good.
No,
is
Crisp in Discord. Crisp will cut that out 100%.
Yeah.
Alright. Well, the hell with it.
But yeah, thank you for being here, dude. Thank you everyone in the chat for joining us as well. If you guys have any questions for Hi-Fi or me and Beauty, or want to join in the conversation, like that's why we do the podcast live, so it's interactive for you guys, and you can chime in as you are.
Touch everything. It's like a scratch and sniff sticker.
If you will, sorry. And yeah, I'm very excited to have Hi-Fi on because we've been we had a few issues with doing the podcast recently because of travel plans and things like that. So good to finally be able to get back to it and be getting an amazing guest like Hi-Fi on. And we're gonna have a very special tinfoil hat segment this week. Extended by an extra 15 minutes just for Hi-Fi, because I know he's got a lot to talk about.
I have an excellent hat prepared.
I'm gonna have to make a new one. I'm gonna have to make a new one.
Yes.
Yeah.
You make a new one every week.
I have to because
you're literally.
No, by the I try and keep it fresh. I try and keep my tinfoil hat fresh, and then by the time it gets to like what, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's been on my desk. It's been like moved around. It's crumpled. It's been folded up. I've like fucking used it as a fidget toy and destroyed it or something, you know, like, so yeah.
You literally you just show people how to use the tinfoil hat every week. That's what you do.
You're the guy that to be fair, I think it's good because now we can show people how to construct tinfoil hats at home to, you know, be able to protect themselves, you know. So yeah.
I went to like a art festival once.
Hey DJ.
And some guy was selling tinfoil hats for $5. He took a piece of tinfoil and wrapped it around your head and put a little LED attached to a watch battery at the top, so you had like an angler fish. You had a little LED hitting right here. And best scam in history.
Wow, he made probably bank, bro.
I bet.
There's so many people. Hi, everybody. Luna.
Yeah, we got a popping podcast today. This is gonna be a good one. So shall we get into it then?
Let's do it.
Sure.
All right, let's start off with the origin story of Hi-Fi. Where did it all begin for you, my friend?
Yeah, Hi-Fi started like the handle started in a
No,
crypto...
I mean you your whole life. Like I'm talking like day one, like yeah, where did you where was you born?
Okay.
Yeah, where was you like your actual origin story?
I was born in Vermont, in Burlington, our big
fuck yeah, East
city.
Coast.
Hell yeah. I have been here since. I raised Catholic. That you know, that had a big influence on my character. You know, there's a lot of parts of Christianity that I think are really good. I think, you know, in general, it's a great framework by which to live your life. But there are parts of Catholicism in particular that I think are counterproductive, like the idea of original sin, for example. You know, I don't think that's a very productive idea. But regardless, you know, like big
productive sin. Personal
if you're not, I guess you know, if you're not familiar with Catholicism and original sin, it means that you're like born into this world with sin that needs to be washed away by baptism. And, you know, I just think that's a poor precedent. You know, a poor core belief to instill into kids.
Luckily, I've never been baptized, so I still have my.
I've been baptized, I'm pretty sure, you know.
But
because I was christened. I was christened. So is that baptized?
That's like
did you get baptized when you get christened or no? I don't know.
No,
probably.
you get baptized and christened. It's like the following thing when you're like 12.
Yeah, if you did
Dude,
you have
a
like
witch, she's
water
getting hers. I am a witch, bro. I got tarot
poured
cards on
on
my desk
you?
right now. I'm gonna get burnt.
If you had water poured on you, you may have been baptized.
Nope.
But regardless,
I'm Wiccan as fuck, dude.
yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, Beauty. I think is Gaia practicing Wiccan too? I know she refers to herself as a witch.
There's quite a few witches in the Discord, bro. There's like probably about 40 witches in the Discord. I'm not even joking.
I'm witch. I'm witchy, but I don't identify.
I don't
as a
know
witch.
why, but for some reason, I attract these witchy females into the Discord somehow.
You got the vibe.
It's just been growing. They just keep coming. They don't stop. I don't know where they're coming from.
It's an energy thing, dude. Once you get one, I was the first, and all of them just came out of the woodwork.
Well, yo, we
it's a
can
thing.
get into some wooey stuff right away, because that's like, you know, like I would maybe say like a vibratory thing. Like you're vibrating at a particular frequency, and you know, like there's this idea in music called sympathetic resonance. And if you strike an A on a piano, for example, the same pitch will start resonating on a cello across the room. You know, so if like you're putting out a particular vibe cap, then you know that is going to like evoke a certain vibratory energy or resonance from other people, and they'll kind of like magnetically come to you.
Yo,
what do you guys think about that?
$50 donation.
Yeah, I definitely believe in that.
Italics.
I kind of believe that like
It's not real.
the energies you like host in the world are kind of like will attract similar kind of, or like, you know, something that can, you know, match in a way or like go well with. And that's how we end up choosing our friends, you know, and like shared interests, shared values, you know, that kind of thing. Like,
well, that makes me think of choosing friends. Makes me think of another wooey idea is this idea of like a soul contract or a soul pod. Like the idea of a soul pod is you kind of like move through reincarnations with the same people. So you know, you meet the same people over and over, and you know, like sometimes you just click with somebody, and you know, in this I don't know, like paradigm, you'd be kind of clicking with them with that aforementioned idea of sympathetic resonance. And
I'm
then
gonna get the ban on Chewy JD. I don't know what this guy's doing.
is it a real account?
A contract that you guys
he's
sign up
getting banned.
for, like in the pre-life.
Is that in your chat
about-
channel?
Yeah, dude, my phone is just trash, dude.
You got a trash chat?
I have a trash chat, yeah.
You haven't donated anything,
question mark?
Chewy. Imagine coming into a stream and saying you donated money when you didn't. That's crazy, yo.
Bro.
Yeah, what's up, Pandora? Welcome in, guys. Thank you for vibing with the podcast today. We're not gonna let that little agent of chaos do.
I banned him. He's
yeah.
done. I banned him in 2 minutes.
So
Yeah,
Vermont,
you're right.
you went to elementary school and high school there, and
Yep. Yeah.
Did you go to college or university?
Yeah, I went to the University of Vermont. Took me a little while to finish. I kind of got disillusioned with it, you know, coming up on the end. But I did finish. I got a degree, a bachelor's science in computer science, and a minor in pure math. So I'm proud of that. You know, I wasn't sure that I wanted to finish with it. Like I said, you know, Cap, you asked me weeks ago to discuss the American and maybe the British as well education system.
Thank you for the
And you know,
follow.
I was kind of like becoming disillusioned with it, and like, you know, what am I gonna do with this? Like, you know, I just kind of like found myself here in this program, you know, over, you know, as a result of the momentum of my life. And you know, somewhere in halfway through college where, you know, I started to like wake up to the the strangeness, you know, of the human condition, and be like, what am I doing in this weird meat suit? Why am I going to college to, you know, do this thing? You know, feels like, you know, I'm just kind of like running on a track. But yeah, so I got kicked out a couple of times, but I did end up finishing. So that's that. That's my education. Early education in the Vermont public school system, and then University of Vermont.
Nice, dude. And what, did you pursue a career out of college in computer science, or what did you do?
Not out of college. In college, yeah, I worked as like a web developer. But out of college, no. Like I said, I got kicked out once just for poor scholarship. You know, I kind of stopped going to class, failed a number of classes, and they're like, all right, you got to get out of here. But then I got myself back in, and I was like, all right, you know, I started this fucking thing, I'm gonna finish it, even if I'm not gonna, you know, pursue a career as a programmer, or, you know, in anything related to computer science. You know, I started it, I'm gonna finish it. Just out of college. Well, I graduated, and then that summer I had my first psilocybin experience.
Oh, how was that?
That was profound. It was an inflection point. I've never been the same. I'm a much kinder, more empathetic, more gentle, more thoughtful person as a result of that first psilocybin experience, and, you know, subsequent experiences. But that first one was the most profound one that I've ever had. I
have a theory that when you have your first experience like that, a lot of it comes from yourself, because I had the exact same thing happen, but it wasn't with the old Shrimmies. It was with Sid, you know, our good friend Sid. But I had the exact same. I had an experience which completely changed who I was as a person, changed every way I looked at the world, and everything about the way I'd ever thought or been taught anything. You know, it completely flipped my brain upside down, and like, 100% made me a better person for it. Taught me love and compassion, and like all of these amazing things, and like made me realize so many bad things that that I had been choosing. You know, like. As well, kind of, if that made sense. So it was.
Fuck your nutsack.
But that wasn't that wasn't with the Shrimmies. The Shrimmies come later, and they you know, they added to it and helped me further, for sure. But I had that same kind of like, well, epiphany, if you will, like whilst
sure.
and that was a long time. That was 10 years
word.
ago for me, you know. And
revelation, maybe, something.
We don't like revolution.
Absolutely.
But my point being is I think when you do that for the first time and you really like let yourself go, your brain will just like start making loads of DMT anyway, because it knows you're in like this kind of spiritual state in a way, like. And that is why you can do different things but end up with a similar result, because I think a lot of it comes from our own brain's chemistry and our own body saying you are in this state now, like, you know,
and to
tune into it kind of thing. And we do have glands in our brain that have very powerful psychedelic like drugs, so
absolutely. There's an author, Michael Pollan, who wrote a book called, I think it was called How to Change Your Mind, and it was all about psychedelics. This is just a straight edge guy. Psychedelic. This is just a straight edge guy who wanted to, you know, look into the psychedelic experience. And one of the metaphors that he used that I love is a profound psychedelic experience is like a fresh coat of snow, you know, over a traveled pathway. And it's like, you know, if you wear a track in the snow, and you walk that way the second time, and then you walk that way the third time, and it gets easier and easier. And it's a way to look at the neural pathways that get formed in the your day-to-day experience. And having a profound psychedelic experience is like allowing a fresh coat of snow to fill in those carved pathways, and give you the opportunity to construct new neural pathways. And maybe you end up falling back into the same old habits, but it gives you that opportunity to be a new person, to when you have a psychedelic experience, even something like smoking cannabis. Cannabis is a low grade psychedelic, I would say. Consuming cannabis, consuming edible cannabis can put you in a profound psychedelic space.
I love eating cannabis.
Having a psychedelic experience, even a mild one, is like in some way experiencing the world without the burden of memory and without the burden of the cultural language that we build up around any particular idea. So it's like you're kind of like seeing the world through the eyes of a child again. And yeah, nothing can transform a personality, in my opinion, like a profound psychedelic experience. And so like what Cap is saying, I think a psychedelic experience can act as a big reset button. Here's our first Terence McKenna reference, Cap. He would talk about language or culture as an operating system. And he'd be like, well, you can upgrade your operating system. Well, how do you do that? Well, first, you have to clear some space on your disk. Psilocybin is an excellent disk cleaner. You can put a lot of things in the trash with a psilocybin upgrade. And if you're in a hurry, click on the button marked dimethyltryptamine. So the psychedelic experience can be like a big reset, and it's like you see the world through the eyes of a child. And children haven't been jaded by the experience of the world.
Someone told me something interesting once, that the reason why kids are always so happy and energetic and always so like positive and is because their brains are like in DMT like overload drive, because that helps them learn things. And when you're younger, you need it hasn't slowed down, and then as you get older, it's your natural like DMT that you just have anyway just slows down. But when you're like a toddler, those kids be tripping, bro.
yeah I definitely agree. We could talk about all the like neuroscientific reasons for why this is, but
yeah, it's definitely it's definitely like an educational like thing for our biology. It's meant to be there to help us like learn and evolve like whilst we exist.
I agree. And you could maybe say like the veil is kind of thinner when you're a child, and you're more closely still like attached to whatever the source, the Godhead, the underlying fabric of reality.
You've definitely been reading some Terence, mate.
Yo, I listened to a little Terence a couple of weeks ago, but it had been a while before that. I love Terence. If there's one person who's had an impact on the way that I perceive the world and the way that I try to make sense of the world, it's definitely Terence McKenna.
Big up Terence.
Literally, I've listened. Hell yeah, he was so ahead of his time.
Isn't he still alive? He's still kicking, isn't he?
Person. No, he died in I think it was 2000.
Oh, really? So what, his son is doing stuff now, is it?
His son is doing something. I don't know anything about his son other than that he has a son. His brother Dennis McKenna is a pharmacologist.
Because I know there's still a McKenna that's doing all mushroom stuff still, like.
Hey, good boy.
That's probably That's probably his brother Dennis. Dennis is a pharmacologist. He's been on Rogan a few times.
Oh, right,
You know,
yeah.
Terrence always referred to him as the actual scientist in the family. And he is. He's brilliant. He's friends with Paul Stamets.
Yeah.
Terrence was friends with Paul Stamets. But yeah, it's probably Dennis who is making waves in like the podcast realm. Very cool stuff.
Yeah, nice, dude. It's very interesting, you know, like, I always wonder what I would be like now if I never had that experience that completely changed me 10 years ago, you know, like where I would be now, who I would be, like, if I would be dead or in jail or like.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I've said that a lot in the past, you know. Who knows if I'd be in dead or in jail or, you know. But I would probably be more of a jerk than I am now. Like, I hold on to a little bit of that. I like to keep a little bit of an edge. But, you know, I can, so I mentioned the psilocybin experience following college because immediately after that, you know, I was kind of like listless and, you know, it's like, what am I gonna do? I spent all this time, you know, pursuing this degree, this piece of paper, if you will, and now I don't know what to do. But, you know, following that, I had the first psilocybin experience in the summer. And then that following winter, I started volunteering at the elementary school that I went to as a kid. So I worked with kids for a decade, like doing after school programs and summer programs, stuff like that. And I don't know if I would have pursued that if I hadn't been, you know, shaped by that psilocybin experience over the summer.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And I guess,
Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
No, I was just gonna say. No, go on.
No, okay, you go. I can.
I'm so bad at group conversations.
No, I was just saying it's crazy how much like it's those experiences have affected me as a person. You know, like it's honestly like the most significant thing that has ever like changed the way I think about anything and everything, you know, like, and I think if everyone you know, had a similar experience to me, the world would be a much better place, you know, even though what I experienced could have been described as like, you know, not, you know, a bad trip or whatever at times, like the hell is part of the heaven and you have to like get through that to like, it's like part of overcoming like what you've got to deal with in a way, you know. It's hard to explain, it's hard to put it into words, like, but
well, yeah, I feel you know, the psychedelic experience is, it is ineffable. It is very hard to as Terrence would say, download into English. But the last trip that I had was what you might call a bad trip, but I found it, you know, retrospectively very productive. You know, it was scary. It freaked me out. Like I saw a skeleton of my father dripping with like this neon fluid sitting at his stool at work, and you know, it's just, you know, thinking about all the time and the energy that he sacrificed to give me the life that I lived. And you know, this was he died a few years ago, but this experience was previous to that, and I was just like, yo, I gotta get my act together. I gotta be more of a man. You know, look at this example. Like, you know, this is the sort of, you know, like the substratum of the human experience. This, like, these familial bonds, these familial sacrifices. Here he is sitting at work, you know, as this like skeleton that's deteriorating, you know, marching towards death's door eventually, you know, just like we all are. And it was a scary, troubling experience, but retrospectively, it was, one of the most important experiences.
It's what you needed to see to learn what you needed to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've had similar experiences, not with like that in particular, like what you were saying you seen, but the retrospective part, looking back on the harder part of the experience and being like, well, that was the lesson, like that was the
yeah.
Are you okay,
yeah,
Beauty?
I feel you.
I'm sorry, Mason's being really cute under my desk.
Giving yourself some under desk support over there.
He's just like being really cute. I can't help it. He's like rolling over onto his back like this and doing like the cute belly thing. And he doesn't do it a lot since he's gotten older, so it's really adorable.
Yeah, she's smelling her own farts.
Nice. What? No.
Smelling her own farts. What?
She Dutch ovened herself.
Degenerates.
That's what she has.
My dog did.
That's what she has that big thing for. The big like furry thing. She just does a big fart and then folds it over herself and just Dutch ovens herself.
This thing is the best thing I've ever bought.
Yeah, what is that, Beauty? That's a fur?
Yeah,
it's a sheepskin, right? Or is it a goat?
It's a reindeer pelt.
Oh, it's a reindeer.
Pelt. Yeah.
It looks very cozy.
It's Rudolph. Poor Rudolph.
It's what they typically use this on all their chairs, like for warmth in the winter. And me and David, it was like on every chair in Norway. Like there's no chair that doesn't have one of these in Norway. It's weird. It's like a cultural thing they do. Like they'll sit outside on these to stay warm. And it's pretty warm. And I'm always cold, so I use it all the time. It doesn't leave my chair, to be honest.
Have you guys ever used a weighted blanket?
I don't need one with this.
A weighted blanket?
You don't need one?
No, but I'll tell you one thing though, like my duvet, is like, it's not a thick duvet, it's quite a thin duvet. But I don't know if it's my shape, my spine, or my physiology or something about, I can't have my feet under the blanket because even just like that small amount of weight pushing my feet down a little bit makes me so weird. Like I have to either stick my feet out of the end or like basically like make a burrow for my feet so it doesn't like.
Yeah. You need
what?
You need a tent pole in there.
Yeah.
You're making a tent for your feet?
But I don't know, but I just can't have something pulling down on my feet even just a little bit, even just that tiny amount of weight from the duvet like, pulling down, like pushing my feet down. Like it's not right. Like
it's hard on your ankles. This thing is like 25 pounds.
Why would you want that on you? I cannot have weighted anything on me.
No. You gotta try it. If it's
is it like being cuddled? Is it like being cuddled?
It's like being cuddled.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
I don't like being cuddled.
She's like, I don't like being cuddled. Take that human affection away. There he is. That sounds a hobby.
At all.
Oh, I love it. It's like being swaddled. I don't. It's comforting. I'm telling you, you gotta try it.
I hate being cuddled, bro. It's like
I've been having
toxic.
Panic attacks before, and I'll hop under that thing, and it's like, bam, gone. Love it.
Yeah, like David's with me on this. David's not a big cuddler either, though. So
I'm a very cuddly person. Like
I'm not.
I don't know. I can't get enough of the cuddles. I'm like
I've been checking my DMs, DJ Cam. DJ Cam told me he was going to send me nudes, and so far I see no notifications in Discord. I don't know what's going on.
Oh no. Oh no. See, David's with me. He's like, it's too fucking hot. Yeah, I agree with you, bro. I'm not touching nobody.
Like I'm that guy that's like, if it's too hot and you're sticking together, I'll put a t-shirt on so I can keep cuddling. Even when it's too hot, so you don't stick together. I'll literally get out of bed, put a t-shirt on, and get back into bed to carry on cuddling because I love cuddling so much.
I hate cuddling.
But I can't be cuddling if you're sticking together. If you're sticking together, that's too hot.
That's too hot.
Physical touch can be intoxicating. I'm primarily a big spoon, but 10-20% of the time I'll be a little spoon. I'm not like,
I like the little spoon.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be a big spoon if I gotta. But goddamn,
you're a little spoon kind of guy. High five, really?
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Wow. Little spoon is way better than big spoon. Are you kidding?
Oh, you like laying on the titties and getting the head rub, huh?
Well, I like.
Hell yeah.
You could if you like you can like get a titty in each hand if you get the spoon right, you know, like.
Well, okay,
if you're a big spoon.
Now we're talking. Now we're talking, Cap.
Right titty in left hand, left titty in right hand. That's the spoon right there.
I'm team don't touch me. I don't like being touched. I don't. I'm good.
I'm team
like,
oxytocin.
No.
I'm team oxytocin.
I'm team fucking fuck off.
As long as you
like you're over there, I'm over here. We'll fuck sometimes. All the time.
It doesn't even have to be a sexual thing though. Like I will cuddle like a friend. I will cuddle. I'll have like a nice long hug with a friend like that I haven't seen in a minute, just as like a greeting. You know, like a. I don't know.
I don't like being hugged.
Like I feel you, Beauty.
Like
I'm not huge. It has to be a special
Look in
person.
DMs, hi-fi. Uh-oh.
Oh my god, I do have a little bubble right there. I see it.
But yeah, I don't know. Like I would just hug. I'll hug everyone. Like all of my homies, my bros. Like you know, I'll hug them when I see them because I don't get to see them often as well. But we've always just been, you know, it will either be like a handshake, a fist bump in, or like you know, like a handshake into a hug. Like, but yeah.
Yeah. A bro hug.
Yeah.
I feel you. Yo, I don't know if we can get it on screen, but DJ Cam just sent me something very salacious.
What is it? Describe it.
Can you send it to me? Because I'm privy to the information anyway. Can I see what you got?
I'm with Beauty on the no touching. Nah. Cuddle,
fuck touching.
Cuddle, guys. It'll make you feel better.
Fuck touching, bro.
I feel like being the big spoon is work sometimes, you know?
Hey, we all need a bit of oxytocin in our lives, you know?
Hold on.
Beauty Nightmares has been riding her oxytocin deficiency for the last like 20 years.
I have no oxytocin whatsoever. I don't even know what that is. I feel sorry for David. I don't know how he dates me, to be honest. I'm the most antisocial asshole he probably ever met. But he's antisocial too, so like I think we work.
Oxytocin.
Like, David's like, I'm going upstairs. I'm like, cool, I'll be down here, and then we just like exist together. I don't. We're toxic. I don't know. What did you?
Oxytocin is the feel-good chemical.
It's that. Oh, that's a great news.
Basically,
oxytocin.
Oxytocin
You too, Cap.
is what your body will start creating when you touch another human, skin-on-skin contact, and it's very strong in like mothers and newborn babies. It's very strong in like people that have a connection with each other, you know, like.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if I had to be forced to pick, I like being the little spoon, but I also find it very overwhelming because I'm so small.
I don't mind being the big spoon. My pillows are so big. Are you talking about the pillows on your bed or a different kind of pillows?
Yeah, you're a small girl, huh? There, Beauty. Did you say you're 4'11"?
Yeah, I'm 4'11". I'm whittle.
Oh, yeah. I'm whittle.
I'm also
whittle
very
too.
aggressive though.
Well, all right. DJ Cam's the lucky guy, I guess.
You're whittle, right?
Yeah, I'm just 5'6". I'm a short king.
Oh damn! I never would have known.
David's shorter than you. He's 5'5".
And
really? All right, hell yeah, fellow short king.
And I feel like short king should be reserved for like 5'4" and under. I still think 5'5", 5'6", 5'7", 5'8". Those are good heights for guys, like, you know.
I appreciate that.
Especially when there's women that are like 4'11", you know, walking around.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. See, like I need a short girl.
He said no.
Absolutely.
I'm 5'6" a foot on Tinder. I'm stupid.
No, hey. Yeah, women are height supremacists.
Oh
Have you seen the TikToker that goes around and his whole channel is based off of him going up to girls outside nightclubs, like, you know, the TikTok interview style, and he's basically like, does a guy's height matter? And they always say, yeah, of course it does. And it's like, so if you would judge a guy on his height, how would you feel about a guy judging you on your size? And then they're all like, what? That's not fair. That's not okay. And then he like pulls out some scales and he's like, do you mind like getting? And then it always kicks off, but it's just like.
I would go with it. I'd be like, yes.
But it's just an interesting double standard, you know, that we have in society, that like, you know, a lot of females, you know, desire a tall guy, but don't look after themselves and things like that. So it's like, you know.
I don't know. Then again, I'm
yeah,
so short it doesn't matter. So I think I'm on the denomination of.
Well, that's the
I
thing.
can give Hi-Fi uppies. Oh yeah, Luna's taller than you, Hi-Fi.
Yeah, she could give me uppies.
Although I only met like
Svenja.
one guy shorter than me in my entire life. He was like 4'10", and like I gave him uppies all the time because it was like a rare occurrence for me, and he was cool with it. He'd be like, "You want to give me uppies?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll give you uppies," and I would just carry him around on my back. And we were both really short, so it was like the lollipop guild. It was funny.
The lollipop guild. Now, yeah, there is definitely a double standard, but I think it's unfair. It's fair, but it's unfair to both men and women. Oh my God, I'm getting another picture from DJ Cam. It's a video.
Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Oh my.
Is he wiggling it this time?
Oh.
He better not be wiggling it this time.
All right, I gotta send this one to you guys. See, this one might take a little bit longer because it's a video. I gotta download it. Can I save it? Fuck. Yo, DJ Cam, just send it to Beauty.
What are you doing?
Send it to Beauty and Cap. Oh my God, it's too funny. It's too funny.
His sense of humor is grody.
But yeah, in regard to the height thing, yeah, like it's it's unfortunate, but it makes sense. Back to this is something Terrence would talk a lot about. Primates all organizing themselves into male dominance.
I hear him
hierarchies.
laughing upstairs. I'm scared.
It's very funny. I hope
Dude's
he
like, I hear him laughing upstairs. I hear his laugh.
The French hot dog.
Yeah, his laugh where he goes, he's doing that laugh. I know he's really amused.
It's
goes,
funny. It's very funny. Yeah, DJ Cam, if you're listening, you better send it to Beauty and Cap.
He's cackling again. I hear him upstairs. He's like a little Frenchman hiding.
I only steered away from short guys growing up, being 5'8" since I was 13. I've had boys act embarrassed by me because I was taller than them, so I was conditioned to feel more secure around men who were taller than me. But sports coaches loved me.
Well, I've always just been like abused by boys in school.
All the girls at my school was tall before the boys. I think that's like quite a common thing. Girls will grow their height before guys. So like for a few years there at school, they're like all of the girls are like taller than the boys, pretty much.
Yeah. The girls are basically women with tits, and then you got like 8-year-old boy, bodies running around. I'm like. But no, yeah. Terrence would talk about, and he would say this is something that we need to correct, and I don't know that I
video.
entirely agree with him. Oh, are you getting DJ Cam's thing?
I've already seen this multiple times, and it's great.
It's very funny.
It's the hot dog video.
Yes.
It's a pretty hot video.
Yeah, the audio at the beginning gets it. So in regards to the height thing, and yeah, like I wouldn't feel comfortable dating a woman who's physically larger than me. So I have to go down.
But you have to understand though, that is like that's like a conditioning thing.
Well, I would. So
like that's not because you wouldn't necessarily want to be with someone that's taller than you because it might not be like a good match for you. That's just because like, that's what you think is like maybe the right thing because of like indoctrination, I guess. I don't know. Like,
well, no.
So this society,
this is what I was just gonna get to is McKenna used to talk about this all the time, and I would say it's less cultural indoctrination than it is like a biological programming. He would talk about primates all organizing themselves into male dominance hierarchies.
Yeah, but you love fucking me though.
the hard-bodied, sharp-toothed young males rise to the top of the pack, and then, they have access to the females. They are in control of the female primates, the children, the sexual minorities. He would talk about this as a thing that needed some sort of correction, but and maybe it does, but I think that is the sort of programming that leads women to judge men on their height, on their physical prowess, and for men to
power of a ladder
recognize that they are
a mini
in many ways the physical
I'm sorry for laughing.
lesser. You're good. The physical lesser to the quote-unquote alpha of the pack. Now that the alpha might not be the most brutish person, but primatologists would say that it's the ape who can both defend himself but make community, who is the alpha. But regardless, these primates historically organize themselves into male dominance hierarchies where the male is protecting the female, and that wiring just runs so deep. I think that's where a lot of that comes from. So at least even if I know that I'm not gonna be able to physically stand down a guy who's 6'4", 250, I at least have to for the sake of the evolutionary wiring, I have to play the part as the male protector to my significant other. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And it kind of works. I've kind of experienced that as well, being a slimmer guy.
I wish
because
I was following, but there were
there's
so
definitely
many big words. Everything just turned off. And the little monkey was going.
I'm tuned in, Hi-Fi. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I'm sorry, Hi-Fi. It got really long and my brain turned off.
But yeah, what I'm gonna bring up is there have definitely been times where I've been rejected or that kind of thing because of my weight, even though I am fairly tall, because a lot of females do want a muscular man because of that whole that biological program of I want a man with big arms, big teeth, that can protect me, big hands, so and then the other way it works is this from a biological instinctual perspective, a guy's this female has wide hips and large breasts that could feed my babies, this woman can provide me with lots of children and be able to feed them, kind of thing, so it's
yeah, wide hips, big tits, let's go.
I don't have any of that. I would if I ever got pregnant, my vagina would break. I don't even think that's possible.
Getting pregnant doesn't break your vagina, Beauty Nightmares. This is an educational issue, guys. Having a baby might break your vagina, but the act of getting pregnant probably doesn't break your vagina.
The giving birth part might break your vagina.
No.
Nowadays it doesn't matter too much. Times have changed so much. It just depends on the person, but I feel like conversation like these, which kind of highlight these thought patterns and this kind of thing, can help break down barriers and social kind of norms and concepts that we live by that aren't necessarily productive or good.
David, I'm pregnant.
Yeah, that's what McKenna would talk about. He'd say, we need to, re-embrace the a Gaian feminine energy as opposed to these, masculine, male dominance hierarchy, patriarchy kind of things. I
hate to tell you guys, as soon as you start talking about patriarchy and masculinity, my brain went meow.
Well,
yeah, but the thing is if you were actually listening, you would actually be really interested in what we're talking about. This is right up your street, but because you zoned out and missed some of it, you're not caught up with us.
No, but he was using such big words. I'm so simple.
No, Hi-Fi's a very intellectual guy, and he doesn't use big words. He structures his sentences very well with good vocabulary. I don't know.
Good vocabulary. It's
that's
like I'm listening to a book, and then it's too long, don't read, and then my brain turns off with my ADHD.
There's another Terrence reference.
Can you give me the nutshell version of what you're trying to say for my mental sake?
So there's a biological, like, instinctual thing within humans which aid in what kind of partner we choose or are attracted to or go for, basically.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like when, psychologists ignore evolutionary principles, they just set themselves up for failure. Like what we might refer to as the postmodernist.
I'm not high enough for this. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do some edibles. I'm gonna be playing catch up. Don't even matter. I need to be stoned for this conversation.
So like the postmodernists would say that everything is relative, and power is a social construct and this sort of thing. I feel like that very much ignores the sort of evolutionary principles that I talked about before. This primate organizing into male dominance hierarchies. There's
I have a reverse psychology question for you. Then why is the insect world based off of matriarchy?
Insects aren't fucking shit.
Interested, like
he's like, they wear their bones on the outside of their body. We can't go by what they do.
Yeah, these fucking freaks wear their bones on the outside. What the hell are they doing?
I don't know. Spiders are pretty badass. I don't know, like.
No, yeah, I feel you, but
I don't know, man.
I mean, like, I feel you. On the world stage, though, on the Earth stage, Homo sapien is the player, right? That's what we concern ourselves with. I feel you, though.
Well, that's like a situational thing because, like, we're smart, but we're not at the top of the food chain. And a lot of people think that we are like the apex predator. We are the furthest thing from an apex predator. Like, there are so many different animals that if you were put in a cage with, you would not be the one coming out. Do you know what I mean? Like.
Right. Yeah, I agree and disagree. I agree, like, yeah, if you're put in a cage with a lion or a bear, you're fucking fucked. But if you put, a human in a cage, that is like planet Earth, and you consider that our, like, boundary condition, then, yeah, we are the apex predator because we've leveraged our, ability to use the mind to create
humanity,
tools.
To be honest with you, I hate the existence of humans completely.
I've been there. I think I'm okay with us at the moment.
I don't think we're scum. I think we've allowed our control systems. I think we've allowed our control systems to get so deep that as a community, as humanity as a community has no real control over progression or the right things or justice or like anything good, basically.
Humans only want and they only destroy.
Well, this is the thing. Like, not all humans are like that. It's a choice. That's why
buddy. Have you seen the world we live in?
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying you don't have to be that person. I do things every day to try and not fuel the fire. I try and make choices in life to make the world a better place. Like, actively in almost every decision I make. Like, I try, like, and that was.
I've chosen anarchy in everything I do. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, but you've got to understand how, like, there's no progression. There's no progression in destruction.
It's okay. I like watching it anyway.
I'll say a couple things. One, I am a bit of an anarchist in, like, the libertarian sense, and, like, the minarchy sense. Like, as little bureaucratic oversight as possible, I feel like is ideal. Anarchy means no leaders, not no rules. There are still rules, and we can, in a distributed way, kind of in the way that Bitcoin operates, in a distributed way, we can hold people accountable to the rules. So I'm not against anarchy, like, out of hand.
If I lived in a fucking van in the nature world and there was no one bothering me for months on end, fucking perfect, bro. Put me on a mountain, give me a beer, and fuck everybody else.
That sounds pretty good. I will say that sounds.
It sounds pretty good, but don't you ever feel like life is for living, like, and sharing, like?
Yes, and okay, I remembered what I was gonna say.
This is a big thing.
Yeah. I was saying I'm not, again, I'm a bit of an anarchist in that, like, anarcho-capitalist sense. But in general, I feel like humanity is at an incredibly more stable, more well, maybe not stable is not the right word, given the
I feel like humanity is
proliferation of
at
AI
a weird
nuclear weapons.
cultural low, but an incredibly intelligent high.
Yes, I feel like we're in a much better place than we were, let's say, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago. The brutality of antiquity is overwhelming. I think things are, in general, we are more safe, we are more prosperous, more privileged, we have more opportunity than we ever have had in human history. And yeah, we're going through some growing pains, back to McKenna. He'd say, the mushroom told him that this is what a species looks like when it gets ready to depart for the stars. Like, it's a fire in a madhouse. It's not, just some like smooth transition. It's like what we might refer to as like punctuated evolution, where there's like a very sharp curve up and then a plateau, and then we plateau for a while, and then there's another very sharp curve up and a plateau. I gotta go to the bathroom. I will be
Yeah, no worries.
1 minute.
Yeah, some very interesting conversations that we've been having already here. Very interesting. It's almost time to start the tinfoil hat segment, which this whole podcast has almost been a tinfoil hat segment.
He's like hiding.
No, I'm having a quick stretch.
Goodbye, cruel world.
I'm having a quick stretch. I'm still here. Look. Hi, Baby Jelly. Welcome in. Thank you for everyone vibing with us today on the podcast. Today's episode has been extremely interesting so far. We've had some really cool topics and conversations. I always knew Hi-Fi would be a great guest for the podcast. Every conversation I've ever had with him, I was just like, yeah, we got to get this guy on. Let's go, Kicks. Hope you're having a good one over there. Let's go.
Oh my god.
So, how was your recent trip, Beauty Nightmares?
It was good.
What happened? You got on a plane, you went to Canada, and then what happened?
Canada. Well, my flight got canceled, which fucking sucks, so I couldn't leave until Sunday.
No, I'm talking about what happened when you got there. I'm like, what happened when you got there? And she's like, oh, my flight got cancelled. What?
I don't know, I'm starting from the beginning. I don't know, that's how my brain works. But...
That was at the end.
When I got there... Oh, too late.
Alright, I'll still be able to hear, but I'm going to quickly use the facility too.
Everybody's going to the bathroom.
Oh. Whoops.
Everybody's
okay.
Body.
I was gonna ask you before the podcast, Beauty, about your Canada trip.
Oh,
and
Cap
like...
literally just asked me about the Canada trip.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, that's so weird.
Great minds think alike. Well,
first day...
I'll wait till Cap comes back, but that makes me think of something else. All right, go ahead.
All right. No, you're cool. Cap asked me the same questions, and I'll wait for him to come back.
Still here.
So, like, how do you feel about the matriarchy? I want to know your thoughts about matriarchy now, since we talked about the patriarchy. Yeah, I'm flipping the tables. I need to hear your matriarchy.
She's flipping the tables. So there's this this author, Rianne Eisler, and she wrote this book called I think it was called The Chalice and the Blade, and she talked about this, as opposed to this is getting back into McKenna. Like I said, McKenna has had a huge influence on my thinking. And he would talk about this woman, Rianne Eisler, who coined and promulgated this idea of partnership societies versus dominator societies, to get away from the gendering of a matriarchal society and a patriarchal society. And basically what she would suggest is that the patriarchal society, which is kind of analogous to the dominator society, is one, like I described before, of tooth and claw. It is the the young, hard-bodied, sharp-toothed young males who rise to the top of the pack and then control the females, the physically lesser males, the offspring, the children, and then the sexual minorities and the elderly.
Mm-hmm.
And Rian Eisler would talk about a partnership society in which it was more egalitarian. Instead of like receiving dictate from the quote-unquote alpha males of the community, there was more cooperation within the community regarding the sexes. I think that's a better way to.
Kitty in the background.
I think that's a better way. You're good. I think that's a better way to look at. Oh yeah, Leo's fucking based as shit. Yeah, I think that's the Rian Eisler partnership versus dominator culture is a better way to look at it. And just remove the genderedness from the conversation. Because I think generally when we say matriarchal, that's what we're talking about, a more cooperative, intuitive experience than that of the male dominance hierarchy. Would you say that's fair too, Beauty? That's what we're thinking about?
Honestly, I'm just
in regards to the matriarchy.
Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm just picking your brain for science. I
All
really
right.
my opinion is totally different than both of you. That's why I'm not saying anything.
No, that's cool. I mean, I definitely hear a differing pushback opinion.
Gender doesn't fucking matter.
I would disagree with you on that, but
no,
I
totally.
If you want to expand on it,
I'm not going to, because it's just like my opinion is not popular. I guess like.
What?
I don't think.
Well, this podcast is not about popular opinions, thankfully.
I don't think gender roles are relevant. I feel differently. I feel like I can see both people doing great things, and gender to me is very irrelevant because like I'm so androgynous.
But do you not think like some of those gender roles are there for a reason?
No, because I don't want kids. I don't identify very female. I'm very androgynous. I like to lift weights.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not talking about from a you perspective. I just mean like in general.
No, I don't.
You don't think it's important that like a mother is someone's mother and like a father is someone's father and like different kind of influences from. Yeah, but don't you think it's important that there's different influences from both sides of that?
No. Because I can see two men raising a kid just easily.
Yeah, but I know a lot of people with one parent, and you can tell that they didn't have a dad when they was growing up, or you can tell that like because of the way that they are. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think that matters though.
I do tend to agree with Cap. I do think
I disagree because I've seen great people come from great situations, and like I don't think you should be shaped by gender roles to be a great human being.
No, but I think it is a positive thing to have a mother and a father figure in your upbringing. You know, I think that's quite an important thing. And if half of that is missing, so, like, either the other parent has to do catch up, has to play catch up and be dad and mum, which is very difficult, but it can be done.
My
but
mom does a great job doing both. To be honest, like I'm a very strong female. I have never needed anybody. I just don't see gender role like that.
Yeah, but don't you feel like some of that has reflected in your personality today? You don't think that's why you're like the way you are? Because I think it is.
No, not really. That was from sexual assault when I was 12 by somebody I knew.
That's terrible, Beauty. I'm sorry.
Hey, we want to open the glass case of emotion.
In a glass case of emotion.
Just saying, like that's why I feel differently, and I know it sparks debate. Like I'm bisexual for sure, and I think two men are capable of raising a good child just as much as a man and woman can, or two women. I don't care. Like I don't see child development based off sex, if that makes any sense. I see it based off how you approach a person. Every individual is different. Yeah,
well, I would say like having a great set of parents in like, you know, two gay men is gonna be incredibly preferential to having a dysfunctional heterosexual couple parents, you know, who are like alcoholics, or, you know, one leaves.
I mean, the thing is, in the ratio of divorce is 60% anyway. So like, really, the infrastructure of marriage is fucked it to begin with. So I mean, at the end of the day, how can we say gender roles have anything to do with society if the numbers dictate that it's not fucking relevant anyway? When you see polyamorous couples last 20 years.
But that's why there's so many broken families. That's why there's so many broken people. That's why there's so many fucking fent addicts on the streets out there, because there was no one to guide these people. There was no one to, you know, these like, and I'm not just talking about a mother or father figure. I'm just talking about like parental guidance in general is lacking for a lot of people's lives, and that's how people can spiral and end up on the streets and end up fucking their lives up and shit, because they had no guidance to tell them otherwise and say, you know, like
that like two good people can make a great person.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with both of you.
I agree, yeah. I don't disagree with what you're saying, Beauty. I just feel like it's important to have like influence from different sources, you know. Like, I don't, for instance, if my dad raised me as a single dad and I never had the influence from my mum, I think I would be a very different person. I don't think I would have as much care for women as I do, because I grew up in a house with two sisters and my mum has always been around. I was always been around women and girls my whole life, so I kind of have a different, like, I feel like if I didn't have that influence during my upbringing, I probably wouldn't be as respectful and like, I don't know, maybe I would be, but I don't know. Like,
well, I do think that
I was raised by a single mom, but my dad was in the picture. For me, that doesn't matter. Like, I don't see either my parents as masculine or feminine, and I never have. I've seen them as my parents. They're my parents. Like, I don't see gender in people. Like, I see people as they are. Like, I wasn't raised for gender roles or prejudice or racism. Like, I didn't even know what racism was until I was 25, or gender. Like, I was raised so sheltered in an environment where my mom didn't believe in those things that, like, I see the world very differently. Like, my mom didn't raise us to see gender or color or prejudice or racism. Like, she just said every person is their own person and everybody is beautiful, and that's what I was raised with. And that is something I fundamentally kept through my adulthood.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I would just say, like,
I can't sit here and say, like, gender roles matter to me, because a guy can be just as a good cook and care provider as a woman. Like, I don't see the...
Yeah, I guess so.
I see women fucking busting her ass doing both job, the man, the woman, and the fucking kids. So does it really matter at the end of the day? Like, no, I think it's blurring.
I think what I'm getting at is more just like masculine and female energy influences into you when you're younger.
I don't even see that, dude. I'm still.
That's what I was gonna get to, Cap.
I don't.
I think that union of opposites is important in regards to the masculine and feminine energy, but in regards, you know, just to cut to the heart of gender roles, you know, males have an ability to, you know, bring about violence in a way that the females of the species do not. You know, we can look at our, you know, primate ancestors. We can look at, you know, humans within modernity. The overwhelming majority of violent criminals in the United States prison system are male. And I think that's you know, just cutting to the heart of the matter is males have an ability to bring about violence in a way that females do not, and that's why primates organize themselves into male dominance hierarchies, and that's why having a strong male figure in the context of your upbringing is important. You know, somebody who, you know,
I don't agree with any of this. I'm sorry. I'm just like, no, it's so stupid.
Well, I mean, you recognize that you're like, you know, if you were confronted with a guy who's, you know, 6'4", 250, there's nothing you can do to protect yourself against him.
Highly disagree.
I mean, that's absurd.
Disagree. Highly disagree.
What I mean, besides using a firearm, how would you protect yourself?
I would put my hands in his eye sockets and rip him out through the throat with my teeth.
Yeah, but you've got to understand that before you might have the chance to do that, you could have been crushed.
No.
He could grab your wrist and you'd never get away. I mean, Beauty,
sorry, dude. I trained in martial arts for 7 years.
I know you do, but a 6'4" guy could probably come up behind me and squeeze me so hard that I wouldn't, and like crush me and squeeze all the air out of me, and I wouldn't be able to do anything. And I
would rather die trying.
Yeah, same.
Well,
but obviously,
die trying.
I fully understand what Hi-Fi is getting at, you know, and it works both ways. It's not just, it's like it works. It works for men as well, you know, like
untrained just bull rush you and you can kick them right in the face. Like I don't. If you get hugged behind.
Well, yeah, but you literally
elbow.
You couldn't kick a 6'4" guy in the face.
No, I'm not saying that. The bull rush, the typical bull rush where they duck down, you can kick someone square in the fucking chin
sure.
Yeah, you know the standard thing.
Yeah, they're shooting on you. They're trying to take you down to the ground.
Even if someone grabs you from behind you.
That's why sports take it seriously with separating genders, because men are scientifically proven to be bigger and stronger and have more physical advantages simply from being male, including the weight of speed and which men can get fit versus women. Yeah. We are yeah, Luna said that. We are biologically and are different, and our physiology is different, you know, like
different. I realize that, but I'm just saying in a combat situation, I could be just as good as a man in most cases. No. And I have fought multiple men and I have kicked their ass.
What Luna's saying is 100% on the head. You know, especially in a combat situation, I think the male organism is just, you know, physically superior to the female.
That's why it's not fair to have mixed sport, you know, mixed gender sports.
Exactly.
It's just not fair because men can get stronger than women, like 99.9% of the time. In some cases where you might have really bad genetics and stuff, you might not be able to get as strong as a really strong woman, but you know, we are built to move stuff and carry stuff and, like, you know, actually
as I said, I'm on the upper tier of athleticism for a female too, so I have a different perspective.
Yeah,
you know,
but
I carry a whole
how do you feel about like trans people fighting in women's sports, like men that have transitioned and then fighting in women's like combat sports?
I honestly think transitioning people should have their own area. Because it's just.
But why? If it's a level playing field for men and women, why?
Why?
Yeah, well, if you're saying it's a level playing field for men and women when it comes to like physical strength and speed, so like.
Level. I'm not saying physical on a biological level. I'm saying based off skill. Women could be just as deadly if it's a skill-based conversation.
But
that's limited by your physical power, though.
Yes. Like you look at, you know, professional athletics. The men are, in many cases, not just, you know, stronger than the women. Look at, you know, like soccer, for example. They're more skilled than the women, and there's a whole bunch of biological, you know, physical reasons why this is true. Just like, you know, reaction time, the ability to recruit motor units. You know, the levels of testosterone that are present in the developmental stage, the density of bone, the capacity of the lungs. So it's you know, it's not to say that, you know, women are incapable. Absolutely not. You know, women do incredible things, but if, you know, presented with the, you know, like combatant
skill-based, yes, but strength-based, no. Yes, I agree, Jenny. I mean, you know, like if you look at the world record, I'm looking at the world record for the deadlift right now. It's like 500 kilograms for the men, 325 for the women. So you know, like that's there is a difference there, you know, like.
To say if biologically men are stronger, yes, but in the sense of learning capacity and being a skilled fighter, I believe there's no limit there.
So I mean, I guess, yeah, technically I would probably agree with you. Like the ability to execute, you know, whatever, a turning side kick. Yeah, a female is just as capable of learning that motor movement pattern as a male is, but you know, the end result is that you know, it'll be something like the 90th percentile female isn't you know, as able to create the sort of force with that turning sidekick that you know, whatever a 60th percentile male is. I think that's just the biological fact of the matter.
I still you know, it's interesting because for me, biology versus skill is where the gray area is. Because like, if you take a man who's incapable of fighting and a woman who is, he's probably gonna get his ass kicked. To be
yeah, no,
yeah, for sure.
Of course.
For
However,
sure.
if you put a 4'6" woman that's very good at fighting against a 7 foot guy who's not very good at fighting at all or has never fought, you know, like, that's just like not fair. It's not a fair matchup in any way. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's just kind of like that's why it's important that I think we should have different gender sports.
I'm gonna be frank with you guys.
And we shouldn't allow
same skill level.
Yeah, but that's training. That's like sparring. That's not like in real life. Do you know what I mean?
So my perspective is very different based off personal experience. I've fought men my size. I've trained with men my size. I've kicked men's asses my size. So, like, yeah, I just don't see... If I punch a man in the liver, it's going to happen the same way it happens to a female. I'm sorry. If I punch you in the kidney, it's the same reaction.
Yeah, but if a man has got more muscle mass on him, he's going to protect his organs better from that impact.
I'm just saying. Like,
so there's that to consider as well. Like men,
I've fought multiple.
Men being more muscular, your muscles is like your armor, right? So like, you know, you're quite a muscular female. That muscle on your body is like your armor, you know. So if you were to get punched in the stomach, you have abs, you train, you could tense and probably take that. But the average person that doesn't do the training that you do would probably like be very injured from that same thing. So it's like, you know, you are kind of a rare case because there's not many females are out there doing combat sports, doing Krav Maga, doing combat training, doing a lot of weightlifting, exercising. You know, like your lifestyle is like quite
like
not
I'm not scared to a man. I've done it multiple times in my life. People think I'm fucking psychopath for it.
For what?
I've been told I'm a psychopath. I've squared up to multiple men in a bar, multiple times.
You might be a psychopath.
I've seen some women fight men, so not gonna lie. Yeah, I actually got attacked by a girl when I was younger, when I was in my teens.
And I perfectly think if a girl is squaring up to you, you better punch her in the face.
And I was trying to get away from her because I didn't want to fight her, but she was twice my size. She was a big girl, and she like managed to like pull my hoodie like over my head, so I could I had my hoodie like over my head. You know when you like. In a struggle, you can like, someone's top gets like pulled half off and then it's like over their head kind of thing. That's what happened to me. Yeah, and she had me bad. Like she was just punching me through my hoodie. I was blind. I couldn't see. Like I was getting beat up. Like,
well, but
she's
bigger than you.
Yeah, she was a lot bigger than me. I was a scrawny teenager, man. And this was a big girl like wailing on me. She Happy Gilmore, you literally. And then once I got out of
have you guys seen Happy
that situation too? I pushed her off of me and ran I managed to run away from her, but in hindsight now I could have defended myself, but you know I didn't do that because she was a female, you know, like if that was a guy I would have fought back, you know, and like now it would probably be different. Now I don't think I would care if someone attacked me. You're gonna get as good as you give, to be honest. But like, it don't matter who you are. But back then, I really did care. Like,
a woman were being hitting me, I wouldn't care about the gender. If it's self-defense, it doesn't matter anymore. Who cares about gender principles? If you're defending yourself in your space, in your property, in your body, who cares? Gender roles are irrelevant.
But my point being is, I didn't think like that when I was younger because I've been brought up that you can't touch a woman no matter what happens, no matter how. What's going on? You can't ever hit a woman, you know. And like when I was in one of my previous relationships, and I was getting wine glasses thrown at me and things like that, you know. I took it because I didn't know. You know, it's not that I should have defended myself, but like I thought that's what I just had to go through, you know, like because I didn't know any better. But
there's so
Yeah, I feel you, Cup. I feel you, Cup.
Sorry, I've been trying to get David to kiss me for like a week since I got back, but I got sick in Canada, and he's like, I'm not kissing you for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Okay. Yo, how was Canada?
Oh, I almost died.
You almost died. What?
So
yeah, tell us about your Canada trip.
So the first day we hiked. The first day I got there, I just spent all day in the hot tub getting high, and then the second day we did a 6-mile hike to Boundary Peak. So 3 miles up, 3,000 gain in 3 miles. So that's like the size of 3 Empire State Buildings, just about.
That's cheap.
And like the first quarter mile was pretty okay, but the last 2 miles were just 2 miles of straight like vertical. And then the last quarter mile was all scree. I don't know if anybody knows what scree is. Do I have to explain what scree is?
Scree, like I don't know, like scramble kind of thing. Like you're kind of like.
Okay, so scree is like a bunch of tiny rocks that are really sharp that dig into your shoes, and you take 2 steps forward and you go 3 steps back. It's just all loose rock.
Oh, it's like
It's all loose rock.
Yeah.
It's all loose rock. And that was like the last mile, and it was like 1,100 gain of just loose rock. And
What
it was at a
mountain was
vertical
this?
pitch. This mountain was called Boundary Peak in Canada.
Boundary Peak. I love
So
a
you
good
get
hike.
up, you go up to the top of Boundary Peak, and you overlook like the glaciers in that area. So we were stupid and we decided to go across the ridge line and try to get on the glacier. We got to the glacier, but the glacier was not exactly stable. So we decided to go back because the glacier was like, like it's hard to explain, but I don't know if you ever heard of glacier cracking before. But
only on video, but that's the sound they make. It's kind of like a
hearing it in person is fucking nuts, like scary and nuts. I got too scared and I actually bailed.
The sound of global warming.
What else? And then that was pretty crazy. The way down was fun because you just slid on your ass down, like just like it was
Nice.
so soft. Like you scree skied, as I like to call it, all the way down. The next day we did a smaller hike through 3 glacier lakes, which were like where moose could be. And if you don't, I'm obsessed with moose. I was trying to find moose, did not find any moose.
I like a good moose.
She didn't find her moose
Thursday.
trap. She couldn't
Moose
find
are
her
fucking
moose in
giant.
Canada. They
Thursday
are
did
big.
Whistler's Peak, so we took a tram up like over half the mountain, and then we hiked the other last 1,600 feet in a mile to the top, and we did the ridge, and it was pretty cool. I did some mushrooms. I was high as fuck.
Hell yeah.
I
Hell
brought
yeah.
some.
I would love to do mushrooms on a mountain sometime.
It's highly recommend. And then
Hell yeah.
Thursday was my favorite day actually because it was something I never did before. I've done a lot of hiking, but I don't do a lot of paddleboarding. And I hang out with a lot of people who live in vans. I don't know if you guys know a van, like people who live in vans do, but they have like an apartment in a van.
You know, my best friend like lives in a van, right? You know, Charlie, who tatted me like Wise Young Sage. He lived, you know, like he. I helped him build his camper. So yeah, I know people that have that lifestyle. Like,
I want to do it part time. I did it with my friend this year. Yeah, my friend has a van, and I lived with him for like 2 weeks out of this summer, like at least 3 months in a row now, and I think I could pretty much do it part time. So I think I'm gonna buy a van. Anyway,
Hell yeah.
one of my girlfriends has a van, and she had paddle boards in the back. So the water out there is like glacier blue. So we did a whole paddleboard 5 miles down between the mountain line, which was fucking awesome, dude.
That sounds awesome.
We brought beers, food. We were just like chilling. Although the only thing is I can't swim, so I was.
You can't swim.
You can't swim.
No, I can't swim.
Why can't you swim?
Gosh damn.
What?
Why? How did you not learn to swim throughout your life?
My dad threw me into a pool when I was 4, and I sunk.
And that's it. That was.
Yeah.
There was never any other attempt to learn how to swim ever again.
No, my dad threw me in a pool when I was 4. No, I think.
Well, I will teach you how to swim one day if we ever if I ever come across you. How about that?
I have to look at flights.
Oh
I think
my
I'm
God.
coming in October. Because October
What,
seems
to the UK? Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
What?
It's gonna be chaos.
I was looking at flights.
Yeah,
It looks like it's like $400 round trip to the UK in October, so I think that's when I'm gonna come visit.
That's how I learned. Well, I'm not even gonna front. I actually had swimming lessons like when I was a kid. Not for that long. Maybe just a year or until I could swim. But like I did.
I'm just saying, my dad.
I vaguely remember. I vaguely remember like the woman being like kick, like, and you are holding on to the side of the pool, and you had to like kick your legs on it.
Yeah, I did a lot of swimming lessons as a kid. God damn, if my instructor wasn't incredibly beautiful and I didn't develop a crush on her like that in her red bathing
You want to know what
suit.
my swimming lesson was? My dad was drunk, and I was like 6 years old at my uncle's party, and he picked me up, and I was over the pool, and I remember my dad saying, "Hey, you want to swim?" And I was like, "Yeah, Dad!" And he just goes, "Whomp!" And I remember flying through the air, crashing into the water, and I remember like sinking to the bottom and feeling the bottom. And I like remember I didn't panic, but I was like, shit, I'm underwater.
Why didn't you float?
That was like the first thing that I registered. I was all the way at the bottom, and I was crawling under the bottom, just like looking for something, and I was running out of air, and I started choking on water, and I was scrambling more, and I was starting to choke on water more, and then I found the ladder on the other side of the pool, and I climbed out. I could have fucking died.
Yeah, that's not a great first
Are
experience.
you sure you was 4 years old?
I had to
when
be
that
5 or
happened?
6. I was really young. I remember being really young. I was like,
Cheers,
I had
Luna.
to be,
What
like,
to the kind of friend?
first or second grade. I wasn't like kindergartner level, but I was definitely like first or second grade. I was really young.
Yeah, not being able to swim is, to me, is
I didn't float.
wild.
I could promise you. I just sank, and I still sink every time.
There's a huge divide. I don't know if this is true in other countries, but in the United States, like, there's this like stereotypical idea that black people can't swim. It's largely true, and it's because they didn't have swimming lessons growing up.
I agree with that. That's
Yeah,
like,
that's it. That's like interesting. Yeah.
Poverty. No, it's true because I can't swim either, and I grew up very poor.
Yeah, it's a class thing.
Yeah.
That's, I think, a lot of our racial divisions in the United States. Not all of them, but a lot of it can be attributed to class.
No, it's attributed to fucking racism.
Well, I agree with that too.
Yeah, but that stems from something. That stems from something, and the system.
Racism.
Yes,
but why? But where does that come from? There's a lot of things
Slavery.
There's
Slavery and
no. I'm talking about in 2025. What's doing it in 2025?
It's still a thing. It's still a thing.
I agree with what Beauty's saying. Like there's a legacy.
Have you ever heard of the 1925 project? Oh my god.
Like, just like I was saying at the beginning, there's a momentum to life, and like when I was talking about like finding myself in college and kind of like waking up in this position as a result of the momentum of the life I had lived before, the momentum of like a generational systemic racism of the idea of slavery has carried through. We're kind of like seeing the wake that is left from the ship of forward progress, and currently
forward progress is ludicrous. It's so crazy.
Well, no,
we're bullshit. Oh my god, dude,
we're definitely. I mean, we're definitely.
Can we talk about gentrification then? Because I love that topic.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, you could, in regards to forward progress, in regards to forward progress, it's clear that we are ahead of where we were when we were, engaging in the practice of slavery, right?
Gentrification is literally like, let's put
gentrification is the result of capitalism.
Gentrification is terrible. It's systemic racism pushing people out even more into smaller areas to make more pockets of poor people in more smaller areas.
Yeah,
based off property values to corporate demand. It's terrible.
Yeah, but that's capitalism. That's what it's designed to do. That's capitalism doing exactly what it's designed to do. Like
racism. It's also systemic racism.
Yeah, but that's not a racism thing. It's not. Oh, I don't know about America, but in the UK, it's not just black and brown people that there's not just black and brown people that live in council houses. There's black, brown, white people, Asian people. You know, every different kind of person you could possibly think of could live in public housing in the UK. You know, it's not. So that's why it's like. So you're telling me there's no white people that live in public housing in America? Because I don't believe that for a second.
There's no public housing in America at all.
Well,
if any.
So
you guys don't have like project, like what is that what they're called, projects or like?
So Section 8 is reserved for people with children only. If not, you're homeless.
And this is exactly, I agree with both of you. This is exactly what I was trying to get to, is that racism has played an integral role in like the class divide that we see now. Racism still plays a role, but because of the legacy of racism, we find more of the black population within what we might consider like below the poverty line. They're thus more likely going to be in what we're calling public housing, low income housing, so it's all tied together. I don't disagree with either of you. I think like Beauty is saying, racism plays an important role. Like Cap is saying, socioeconomic status plays an important role, but it can be hard to kind of like disentangle these ideas.
I'm not disentangled. I know what's happening. I see it right before me. I'm like, well, there it is.
Well, wouldn't you agree that the position that the black population within America was put in following the Emancipation Proclamation, the freeing of the slaves, they're in a piss poor position to start socioeconomic.
Segregation is a result of economic placement. As soon as Hispanic people, black people, and anybody that weren't white were free, they're like, okay, we're gonna put them in places they can afford it, so we don't have to see them, and that's where all the zip codes happen. That's where all your bad areas are.
Well, no, this was like a big thing that the government did for like control. Because divide and conquer is a control system, and the reason why that there was neighborhoods with like racial minorities or whatever, and just those racial minorities in those neighborhoods, and there's a liquor store and a gun shop on every single corner of those neighborhoods. That was meant to that's a plan. That's what they did. Like to keep the ghetto basically. Like,
and it's still a thing.
I agree with all.
And do you know about the crack wars in the 80s or whatever, where the CIA, it's like, this is all a big thing. The CIA like put loads of crack in all of the hoods in America and shit. Like,
oh, dude, I've seen it.
Then we could,
you know how many friends I've seen die growing up? It's fucking terrible. Just because
tangential.
Yo, Zayla, what's up?
Terrible, dude.
I grew
up in the fucking projects. I know what it's like to sleep with bed bugs and piss. I have lived it. I fucking use my body to get by. I know what it's like. It's not fucking fun.
Yeah, I agree. Beauty.
I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about that. Just because
I you know what
I mean? I identify in that bracket.
You bring up some very important points, and I think we're kind of circling around the same thing. We're hitting different points of it.
Because you're sitting here telling someone in an American society, pick yourself up. You can do this even if you put your mind to it. But how can you access upper echelons of money when money is required, when money was never given to you? And this is my problem I have with classes and promotion of like becoming to that next level class. Because in order to do so, a lot of these people of color are doing things illegal to obtain money to get to that next class, but then they get in trouble for doing that. And that's the cycle we're in, because they don't have access to anything.
Did you say they're doing things illegal to get to that next step?
Yes,
is that what you said?
Definitely.
Yeah.
But you're sitting here in front of people that don't know, that don't have a choice. So you have a mom with 4 kids that's getting $100 a month off food stamps, and probably living on Section 8 and has no more than $100 a month to get school supplies, everything else, clothes. So what is she going to do? She's going to sell her body to be able to afford clothes for her kids. And then she gets in trouble for selling her body.
I 100% resonate with that.
And I've seen this happen. I have seen this happen with my friends. So like, I'm just saying, what people don't realize is what's underneath the fucking curtain. And in impoverished areas and in the projects, a lot of the time, a lot of these people are doing these things because they have to, not because they want to.
I 100%
So how can you tell somebody, oh, this is the land of the free, home of the brave, provide for yourself, you'll get there, when a lot of those programs are either defunded, they don't care, and there's no accessibility. And then say you get pregnant, it's like, oh, no abortions, don't worry, and then the kid goes into a foster program and gets raped. I'm just saying, like, it's a broken infrastructure.
I can't disagree with anything you've said, Beauty. I can't disagree with anything. I'm coming. This is coming from firsthand experience. Like, I know what it's like. It's terrible. Like, yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said.
I mean, it's just like, if people grow up with money, they don't know what it's like to be poor. They don't know what it's like to be sitting on a fucking couch waiting for maybe a hot dog and starving.
I absolutely agree with that.
So growing up in those conditions, you become scared of becoming poor because you know what being poor is like. It's not fun. Like, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
And the reason why women have so many kids is so they don't end up on the street a lot of the time in those areas.
That's a problem in the UK too, where, like, you know, there's girls from families that are like, that think that they have to have a child by the age of 18 so they can get on the housing and get, like, you know, and this is a big problem up in the north of England especially, where a lot of young girls are getting pregnant so they can get a house and get money off the government, you know, like, and get on the system, and, you know, it's like, bro.
And I don't
That's
agree
what you're
with
talking
either.
about, right, Beauty? That's what you're talking about, is when you say they feel like they have to have kids.
Yep. My cousin had 4 kids by 16. And you know
By
how much money she made off the
16?
government? $3,000 a month because she had 4 kids.
Yeah.
She didn't have to work.
There's a
And
definite.
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like, and here's me. I don't want kids. I worked my ass off to get where I'm at, and like, I started my own business, for example, right? I'm starting my own business. I'm running my own business. I'm trying to get myself off the ground, doing it the right way. But for me to get a mentor, it's $3,000 to get my business off the ground. And there's no, like, that's what I'm saying. Everything is so gate kept. Success is gate kept by, if you don't have money, you're not gonna get money, and that's like, it's just stupid. I'm sorry. Maybe I'm not right. But
in many respects, I agree. Yeah. If you have money, it's incredibly easier to make money than it is if you don't have money. I think it would be hard to argue against that.
Yeah.
Having money makes it a lot easier to make more money.
If you have a small business loan from your father of $1 million, you know, then you're gonna find it a lot easier to get your foot in the door in the world of business, you know. And the reason why I say that is because there's an interview with Donald Trump, and he literally says in the interview, he literally says, I made it my own way in life. I did this all off my own back myself. And it all started because I got a small business loan off my father for $1 million. And it's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Like, hello?
A small loan.
That's not a small loan at all.
Yeah, I know, but that's the disconnect.
Like
that's the disconnect between rich people thinking, like, why can't poor people get rich? Because, you know, like Hi-Fi was saying, you need money to make money. If you can invest in your own business, in someone else's business, in stocks that are gonna grow, and, like, you know, you're gonna make money.
Yeah,
so
but
it's
it makes
like,
me sad because there's so many brilliant minds out there that if they had the access to the right things, they would do great things.
Yeah.
Contribute in an amazing way.
And that works both ways. There's a bunch of great minds out there that have been exposed to too much bad and are like limited or like not gonna achieve or accomplish anything because of like mental health or situational problems, like environmental issues, you know, like
I'm one of those.
within their lives.
No fucks to give.
Yeah, and so I'll say a couple of things come to mind. I may have already forgotten the second, but the first thing is my Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders. I'm not a huge fan of Bernie, but I do like some of the things he says in regards to what Beauty's talking about. He would say, you know, it's expensive to be poor. You know, a $200 parking ticket is soul crushing to somebody who's living at the poverty line. Somebody who's very affluent, a $200 parking ticket is just like, you know, whatever, I gotta pay this, I parked in the wrong spot. But, you know, a $200 parking ticket to somebody who's on the poverty line might mean, oh, you know, I might not have to eat everything I want to this week because I have to feed my kids. You know, and that's what it's expensive to be poor, and that is a shame.
I think it's more than that. I think it's you know.
Well, yeah, it's more than that for sure. That's an element.
I'm laughing because, like, as someone who has been like at the lowest of low, and I have been middle class before. I'm in a weird middle area right now, but like, I never knew how great Victoria's Secret was until I bought it. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm laughing, because I wore nothing but like shitty underwear my entire life, and I bought my first pair of like Victoria's Secret underwear when I was like 21, and I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. I'm never going back. Like, but you know what I mean?
Let's
like,
get it, DJ Cam.
But like, like, I guess the example is like, a lot of us aren't even aware of what's on the other side of the fence and what waits for us when we don't. It's hard to explain. It's hard to explain. I can't.
But that's why it's important to have conversations like these where we can get different perspectives without having to limit ourselves. You know, we can, you know, get different people's experiences
because, like,
without
when I was 6. Like, I was helping my
going
mom
through
raise
it
my sisters
by talking.
I was helping my mom raise I was raising my cousins and my sister as well while my mom was at work, because we couldn't afford a babysitter. So like, that's a good example of like what families do. And like, we lived with another family growing up in 1-bedroom apartment. There was like 8 of us in a 1-bedroom apartment because we couldn't afford anything else. And that was like 2 women working together on a single income, and her dad was disabled with no legs. And like, not only that, we had one handicapped person living with us that I also helped take care of. So like, when people ask why I don't want kids, is because I was a mom at such an early age. Like, I know how to change diapers, I know how to birth babies, like, I've done it all. Like, so in the perspective of like poverty living, like, that's what it is. Like, the kids help raise the kids, the parents work, they do illegal shit on the side, whatever that means. And I'm gonna tell you right now, everybody in the hood has a fucking weird ass side hustle they do. It doesn't matter if it's legal or not. One guy, you know, everybody in the hood cutting the grass. I don't care who you know, that guy in the damn hood with the fucking lawnmower who's gonna do your shit for $20. I'm sorry, like, everybody got a weird side hustle. It don't matter if it's legal or not.
Yeah, I think
the education isn't there either. There's not a lot of sex education. There's not accessibility. Like, they don't know what investments are. I didn't know what investing was. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing. Zero.
Yeah, well, the educational system in Western society is very streamlined to create cogs. And by that, I mean, it's a sheep factory. School is designed to make... Yeah, cogs. School is designed to make you... to program you into be yes sir, no sir, or trigger you into fucking up your life and go in jail, basically. Like, and it's kind of like,
been, like, so weird on that. I'm such a free spirit.
And
like,
I think the way we teach our next generation is very messed up. We're not taught how to actually take care of ourselves and others. We're taught trigonometry. How many times have I used trigonometry since I left school? None. How many times would I have used how to pay my taxes if that's something that I would have been taught at school? You know, that would have, for instance, that's just a random example I pulled out of thin air. I wasn't taught how to do my taxes when I was at school if I was to run my own business, or like, even so, like, something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, why? Yeah. Like, that's why our education system is so like bent. It's not meant.
Something even simpler. I briefly mentioned before that I worked with kids for quite a long time, and I remember one summer teaching a kid about mindfulness, just the ability to kind of like separate yourself from your thoughts, be like, yo bud, you're not the thoughts that you're having, you can just watch those go by like leaves on a stream. And if you want, you can kind of stir them up and focus on one thing, but you can also just watch them float by and wait for the next thing. And he's like, this is where we're sitting under a tree, and he's like, yo, this is so cool, why are they not teaching us this in school? Just like how to operate as this weird like flesh suit super monkey, how to deal with the experience of mind. That's extraordinarily more useful to a developing individual than it is to be able to recite whatever your state bird and your state motto. Not that that's not important, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%. Like, value is put on a lot of useless shit in our educational system.
Well, like,
at the end of the day, everyone carries around a calculator in their pocket at all times now, pretty much. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
so
right.
like,
I can be honest with you guys, I never did well in school. I never did well in school.
I was a very good student. I was like a straight A student, but I was so misbehaved that and they didn't know how to deal with me, and I was undiagnosed with ADHD, and like,
yeah, same.
I was constantly getting sent out of class. I was constantly getting detention, sent to isolation. So they didn't know how to deal with me, and that fucked up my education, because I fucked up all my GCSEs, and then I didn't go to college for a dumb reason. But like, all of my friends went to college and university. I never went to college. I got a job when I was like 16, 17. I started working. I wanted to drive. That was like the route that I took. But I always wonder what would happen if I did go to university and get a degree and pursue a career in something else, like...
Yeah, and well, so I guess a few things come to mind. One is self-education is the only real education. Like the stuff that you've learned for yourself, Cap, I think is more valuable than a lot of the stuff you learn in school.
100%, yeah.
Pointed in the correct direction.
Oh my god, we have unanimous agreement. This is the first one.
Even if you would have been pointed in the correct
no,
direction,
actually,
the enterprise of academia, it's still the stuff that you learn for yourself that sticks with you.
I think we've agreed on a lot of things, Beauty. You're just very anti and just want to argue about everything. But I'm pretty sure we've almost agreed on every single conversation so far. But like, it's just turned into a debate because like, they're different perspectives.
I walk a different life than you two. Too,
yeah, but what I'm saying is like, I've agreed with pretty much almost everything you've said for the most part. But I know you don't think that I have. Like, it's just weird how like.
No, I think you have.
Yeah, I think we agree. Maybe we're talking past each other a little bit. Maybe we're kind of talking in circles around some particular, like points of coalescence. But I think
coalescence is such a pretty word.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, coalescence is a good one.
I did the schools. How was school, Godspeed?
Schools. Well, so the second thing that what you were saying, Cap, made me think of is just like you're saying, like it's I feel like a lot of what we're taught in school is useful to Beauty and I don't know if you came back for this. We were talking about the dichotomy between matriarchy and patriarchy.
No, I asked you that question.
And and then this
somehow. That's so funny.
Feminist author Rianne Eisler, who talked about who would like kind of like recoin it, or like represent it as a juxtaposition between dominance societies and matriarchal societies. And I think it's useful for the dominator society, the current education system that we have. It's in my understanding, the American education system, and probably the Western European education system, if I had to guess, is based heavily off of the Prussian education system, and it with a desire to produce factory workers or soldiers who could, who could work on a schedule, who could move to the next task at a tone.
Nope.
Who could?
I'm ADHD, bro. It don't happen like that here. It don't work that way.
Who were, likely to acquiesce to, an authoritative dictate.
Nope.
People it didn't.
I have a problem with authority in every way.
Critical thinking, who would be like, they'd make people smart enough to, just be able to, screw a widget onto a wonkel, but not smart enough to recognize how extraordinarily they're being screwed.
That's why the ADHD brain doesn't fit in that kind of box a lot of the time, because I'm so curious about everything. If I'm learning something, I'm curious about everything. I have to know everything.
Yeah. And I don't think that's always fostered within the public education system within
I think when I
the
went
states at least.
Because I instantly got put in special education in 3rd grade because I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
And dude, you know how insane it drove me as a kid to listen to someone with a stutter try to read in special education? And I could read perfectly
we got a homie on the kick side saying, I don't necessarily disagree with him, but where does the Prussian have an influence?
Well, I mean, I guess just like abstractly at a high level, what I alluded to, this idea of creating an obedient, an acquiescent factory worker or soldier, one that can produce ammunition or, go to war and accept some sort of authoritative dictate, in regards to the pedagogical mode, the regurgitating a particular talking point. If you're given a particular ideology by a teacher, a professor, whatever.
Can I ask a question? And this is just to piggyback off you, if that's okay. So,
absolutely.
In your perspective, how do you guys think the future would look if we had more open learning formats, where it's like people are allowed to pursue topics that they're interested in while working with topics they might not be interested in a way that would fit them? So, for example, like for me, I'm not a huge fan of math, right? But I really like pool, right? But that's angles, right? So I could learn angles through an activity I enjoy.
Yeah.
Or even working with money, where I like money over just sitting there looking at a board. You know what I mean? Or using more interactive ways to teach people fundamental skills.
Yeah,
I think that is a direction I would like to see the education system go. Like, teach people if we're learning about the earth, going outside and looking at the plants and explaining what the dirt is, and then like being connected with our environment and learning in a reciprocal way.
Yeah,
so not just flat textbooks and carrying a bunch of crap, and like making the experience more human is the best way I can put it. Because for me, I feel like that's what I was missing, because there was no connectivity between what I was learning and what I was receiving. So like for me, the best way for me to learn is through an experience. So like if you were to take me to an aquarium and be like, this fish has 3,000 needles and can kill 3 things in 2 minutes, I can relate back that information because there was something that connected me to it in the moment. I don't know. Tribe mentality.
No. I think that I agree with that. I think, learning.
Children are so curious as they are. I feel like the connection between what they're interested in and then kind of segueing off their interests into the more harder skills that they may.
Yeah, well, that's an ideal world, but the problem with that is that there's not enough focus on each individual. All of these students are put in one room. This is how we're going to teach all of you. This is the way you're all going to learn, and there's not enough focus on like a tutor student or sensei student kind of like, which you kind of need to, because everyone learns in a different way. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditory learners, some people learn with hands on, and
and not blend of both.
And not everyone is gonna be able to take the same lesson, like take away the the same information from the same lesson. Yeah, or at the same speed. Yeah, so that's why it's important for like one-on-one tutoring in a lot of things. And that's where our education system is fall short, like, because we're all put in a box, and it's like, this is how it is. You're all the same. And in England, it's like you all wear the same uniform. You all look the same. You all have to look exactly the same every day and be like I think putting kids into school uniform is like just as bad as like, what do they do to prisoners in prison? They put them all in wearing the same thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, that's not.
I agree with you, Karen.
Like that was part of the thing that made me hate school, because I was like, this is just a brainwash fucking system. This is like, you know, they want me to be a certain type of way that I'm not, like, you know, and I don't fuck with that. Like, so that's why I was so anti during my education, because I saw through a lot of the bullshit of the education system, and it was like I said, the things we was getting taught.
You know how much I hated the bus? I hated the bus.
The bus, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Right, I'm on Twitch now, a little less DJing.
Yeah, the bus was very rough. That's where I
hated the bus.
Experienced any sort of bullying.
Oh, you went to Twitch, God, let's go.
The bus was rough. I'll be right back.
I like how I say the bus, and he's like, not the bus.
So when I went to school, yeah, we didn't have like a school bus that would pick you up. You had to get to school, like, off your own back. Like, I used to either cycle or because my sisters went to school at the same high school, my parents would like drop us off in the morning usually, and then I would get the bus home after school. Like, that's kind of what, like, but if I cycled, I would cycle to and from, because it wasn't that far. It was about half an hour each way. But yeah, we don't have a school bus. So the bus that we took home was a public bus, you know, like anyone could be on it. It wasn't just school kids, you know what I mean? So like, but yeah, the whole school bus thing, that's an American thing. We don't have that in the UK. If there's a school bus picking you up to take you to school from your school, that's a fucking private school. You're paying like 30, 50 grand a year to get that kind of service. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I didn't know that. Shit.
Working for the day, my friend. Hey, appreciate you, Walters. How are you? Hope you're having a good one, G. All late, but I hated the uniforms, man. Yeah, that's just some like mind-numbing shit. Make everyone dress the same and act the same and be the same. Like, that's stemming creativity. Like, that's cutting everyone's creativity short, you know. And,
go get him.
And that's what I think is very wrong with the educational system. It's like, this is the box. Learn to fit in the box, and if you don't fit in the box, you're not welcome or accepted in society, or you're not like gonna.
That's pretty much how it is still, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem with it, you know.
That's why I don't fucking go anywhere.
We just taken the trolley, dear. I agree with that. I'm not firm on the school uniform, because that was just like private school, so easy to avoid. But same concept. I genuinely hated being there. And honestly, if my teacher was at my house, it's totally different. Yeah. There was a trolley in my city. They're cool as fuck. A trolley?
I went to public school.
What's up, hypothetical? Yeah, I went to public school, but in America, it's all public schools don't have uniforms, but your private schools do, right?
Some schools do have uniforms.
Oh, really?
Some do.
Well, pretty much, I'm like 99.9% of schools, maybe even 100% of high schools in the UK all have uniform. Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, I don't think that's a social norm that we should have. Like,
a lot of technical schools like have uniforms. It just depends. Some schools do, some schools don't. And so that's private and public.
I had a set of DCs, yeah, when I was at school, and they were all black DCs, black laces, black cork graphiques, black DC logo, completely black. I would get sent to the headmaster's office every morning and have to go and put on a pair of black plimsolls, like tennis shoes, and leave because we weren't allowed to wear like shoes that weren't smart shoes, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. So I'm
like, how is that benefiting me in my education in any way, telling me what shoes I can and can't wear to school? Do you know what I mean? Like, and that's just something that aided my hate for the system and the powers that be and the controls, and made me less interested in progressing with my education, because
it's because
of stuff like that, you know. Like,
it's because some fields of work require you to wear what they want you to wear, and you have no choice, and that grooms you for it.
So yeah, I'm in two minds. I have a couple of thoughts. One is, yeah, like Beauty is saying,
it's grooming.
I think it is grooming in the way, like, you know, like I was saying before, you know, you're gonna operate on a schedule. You're gonna acquiesce to authority. You're gonna do what we tell you to do. I do see a useful component to it in that it helps eliminate or at least attenuate a class differential. You know, if everybody's wearing the same thing, you know, then it doesn't matter if somebody's wearing, you know, like you said, if they got DC shoes or they got a Supreme shirt or, you know, whatever. Everybody's kind of on the same peg. But that also leads me to something that I've noticed over my few years on Twitch. I guess I've been streaming every day for almost a year now, but before that, you know, it's in a few different communities. Something that I've noticed as like a difference between the American culture or zeitgeist and the UK culture zeitgeist is, you know, that sort of like quintessential Americanism, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, you know, you can achieve what you want to achieve.
That doesn't
feel like
exist anymore.
Well, we'll table that for a second. But but I don't disagree with you, Beauty. Table it for a second. This idea, though, I feel like is more pronounced within American culture than it is within especially English culture, but maybe all UK culture. That there's more of like a, you know, keep your head down, the odd nail gets hammered down, the, you know, the tall flower gets clipped, this kind of thing. Like you know, there's an increased willingness, in my perspective, to kind of like blend into the whole in the UK
Trash? No, I'm
than
good.
there
I threw
is
all my stuff out.
within
Oh wait, I have this.
within the American zeitgeist. What would you say about that, Cap?
Yeah, I agree, but I think that's because of the population size difference, and also like the land mass size difference. Those two things combined has allowed a lot more multiculturalism to like thrive in America, and that's why it's so different from place to place. Whereas in the UK, a lot of the places are exactly the fucking same because, you know, and a lot of the people are exactly the same, and everyone shares the same culture. We don't have like a different culture in the next town along, whereas you guys have a different culture in the next state along, for instance, you know, in some cases. So I think that's why America has a better chance at like breaking away. Americans have a better chance at breaking away from like the kind of what is expected almost.
Programming.
Yeah, the programming. If that makes sense at all, I don't know.
It does make sense. It absolutely makes
But
sense.
that's also attributed to this country existing for so long, and America only existing for what 300, 400, 500 years or whatever, you know, like.
Guys, I hate to break the pudding to you, but we're at like 2 hours. Can we get to the tinfoil hat segment?
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Well, it's just America's coming up on 250 years, and I was just gonna say like an aphorism that I've heard is you know, there are toilets in Europe that are older than America. You know, we're figuring it out. We're trying here. We're fucking trying over here.
Hi, my love. Oh, my baby.
But yeah, obviously the UK is only 1/3 the size of Texas, so we're all bunched in together a lot tighter, and I think that has contributed to people being more accepting of like normie shit, you know, or like the way things are supposedly supposed to be, you know, like.
Yeah, and I would just like to tack onto that. I would think that the you know, the history, the momentum of the monarchy is, you know, incredibly influential when you know, compare it to the United States, which was born out of revolution, you know, from the monarchy.
Well, right now the monarchy doesn't really have any political swing whatsoever in the, like, the king doesn't actually get to like make up laws and stuff. It doesn't really work like that anymore. Obviously our parliament is our government. The monarchy is a money machine for tourism, like really, like in reality it's
I agree with that. Yeah.
Oh, hi, my love.
And it's a shame that that's what it is now, because it kind of like it came from something else. But yeah,
I feel ya on that.
You think tradition has something to do with it? Yeah, because for sure, obviously, like the longer something is a tradition, the more it is socially accepted in society, and that is why we have a lot of fuck shit that's socially accepted, but people don't even see it as that. Like,
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get some socks. I know that sounds weird, but my feet are really cold.
Socks? All right.
I know it's random. I know it's. I need to get some socks. My feet are.
How does the monarchy not have a choice or whatever? So basically, our parliament and government make our laws in the House of Lords, and then those in the House of Lords, the laws are decided and taken to the House of Commons, and our MPs, our members of Parliament, vote on the laws whether or not they should pass or not. The King and the Queen, the monarchy has nothing to do with that process whatsoever anymore. Whereas 100 years ago, Queen Victoria decided everything. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so.
I've seen videos of your parliamentary procedures, and everybody's fucking yapping at each other. They're like,
order, bro. It's a joke, man. They're like fucking kids, bro. They're like fucking kids, bro. It's a joke. Honestly, it's the biggest shit show you'll ever see. If you go and watch the House of Commons, bro, it's the biggest shit show you'll ever see. Like,
it's fucking nuts.
Our MPs are a joke, bro. A fucking laughing stock to anyone with any kind of head on them. Do you know what I mean? It's just a joke.
Well, there's a British guy who's been in my chat for one of my oldest chatters, and he's very interested in politics. You know, he's a very reasonable guy. He's a progressive. He's thoughtful. You know, he's not like, you know, subscribing to the like woke left ideology, but he's just like, you know, like, I would have considered myself a liberal for a long time until, at least in this country, you know, the left kind of went nuts with the whole wokeism thing. But anyways, this is all just to say that he's a very reasonable, measured, thoughtful guy. And he, you know, says that he has seen, you know, like a decrease in the standard of living within the UK and within London in particular, over, you know, especially, I guess, since the pandemic. Would you agree? And, you know, I guess something that's going to get tied into this is the migrant situation, the immigration, the clashing of cultures. What is your perspective on that, Cap?
Well, right now there's a huge thing going on in the UK with illegal immigration. It's like the biggest thing that people are like talking about in the UK right now, because every day there's boats showing up from Calais in France, full of like of not women and children, but like fighting age males that are like pulling up, and there's thousands of them, and they're getting put in hotels and given smartphones and given money, and the majority of these people are not asylum seekers. They are not from war-torn countries. They are not refugees. They are people that have decided to travel to the UK to try and get on the benefit system. And, you know, there are asylum seekers and refugees that don't have access to that, like what we have set up for that, because it's saturated by people that are not coming from a war-torn place, that are just trying to get the money to send back home, or like get in pursuit of a better life, which I can't be like mad for, but it's fucking shit up for a lot of things here, you know. And I have two friends that are getting kicked out of their houses, their renting situations, because their landlords are turning those places into boudoir hotels to house illegal immigrants, because the government will pay you £1,000 a month, which is about $1,200 a month a week, not a month, a week. So $1,300 a week for every illegal immigrant you can house in your CS2 hotel.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's so it's British people are being made homeless, basically, to allow landlords to make money from this system, and that's like a big problem, you know. Like,
well, that's basically the understanding that I had. So it's, you know, interesting to, you know, hear you
hi, Poopy.
say the same thing.
My baby, hi. What you doing? Sorry, dog.
But you know, like the thing is like those systems that we have in place to house asylum seekers and such, and give asylum, should be for women and children and people that are actually coming from war-torn countries, and and situations, because it was our fucking army that blew up Syria anyway, and they're still dropping 100,000-pound Tomahawk missiles all over the shop. You know.
Yeah.
But it's just a shit show basically. The whole thing is backwards, and it's just another system that's being taken advantage of, like, and it's causing a lot of social division. A lot, you know, some people are like, we need to stop this now, whereas other people are like, we need to give help to the people in need. And there's it's just causing a big divide and a big ruckus and a big shit show, and there needs to be some kind of solution to this, you know, like.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because what's the London mayor's name?
Sadiq Khan. He's fucked up everything, bro.
Sadiq Khan. Well,
is he our prime minister? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, he's the mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. You know, yeah. He's our mayor.
So he'll be like, and it's unfortunate because he'll say, you know, diversity is our strength. And in many ways, it is our strength. You know, diversity of ideas, diversity of cultures is a beautiful thing. But, you know,
let's just go skinny dip.
What's up, Southie? You know, there's a clash that is occurring that is in many ways unreconcilable because of the difference in cultural perspectives. And it's instead of like a smooth kind of like osmotic process where there's like a diffusion of cultures across time, it's, you know, like everything is getting dumped into solution at one time. And it's like, you know, if I'm going to continue this, like, you know, chemical reaction metaphor, there's like a precipitation of violence that occurs from, you know, the rapid mixing that might, you know, otherwise kind of like smooth itself out if the reaction were to take place more organically over a longer period of time. I don't know. What do you think about that? Do you think that it's just because things are happening too fast, or do you think there's like a, you know, some sort of fundamental difference
think it's
in these cultures that disallows them from mixing?
I think it's the powers that be like putting things in place to create the division more so, you know, and stop assimilation and multiculturalism and try and keep people separate and divided, because that keeps people distracted. It keeps all their money machines going for all of the shit that they're doing. And you know, that to me is such like a no-brainer to me. It's like it's just like it's such a dumb thing to hate someone for who they are, where they came from, what they look like. It's just I can't even comprehend why someone would like live their life trying to stop, you know, like diversity. I don't know, it's just mad to me. I can't formulate the brain process why someone wouldn't want to like have different kinds of people in their lives from different places and different things. Like, you know, I love all different kinds of food, all different kinds of music, all different kinds of everything, art, and anything you can think of from all over in the world. And it's just, it makes me sad that there's people that are so single-minded. Like, I don't know.
I agree with a lot of that, Cap. I guess, you know, to like cut right to the heart of the matter, you know, we'd examine this question, like, are some cultures better than others?
No.
Well, I mean, like, I guess if you say no, you know, how would you respond to, you know, like the treatment of women within many, not all, but many Middle Eastern cultures? Or like, you know, the treatment of young boys within a lot of Middle Eastern cultures? Like, it's
systemic. It's all systemic.
Well, yeah, I agree it's systemic, but
it doesn't just because it's wrong, yeah, but it's culturally systemic and they don't know any different.
Well,
yeah, but why is it culturally systemic? And that's why I was talking about earlier. This is bringing it back
to the idea.
Because that's how their culture.
Yeah. Back to the idea of culture as an operating system.
It's
like
a historic thing.
No, it's yeah, but I'm talking about what we've got going on now, and like the reason why we can't, like, there's no progression is because
all I got on this is how do I feel about Middle Eastern cultures treating women. That's all I got. Sorry, I'm stepping in late. I had to get
No, I mean, but I mean that's core. I mean, that's close to the core of the argument. You know, are some cultures better than others? Is this, you know, treatment of women within Middle Eastern culture acceptable? Should it be integrated?
It's not acceptable.
Into,
no,
like,
it's not
British
acceptable,
society, for
and
example.
you know what, and the one good thing that happened to Afghanistan, whilst, you know, the British and the American troops was there, is the females could actually, like, live life. And then less than a month after America undeployed from Afghanistan, the Taliban had control over the country again. Women are not allowed to go to school or have education, and it's all fucked again. So, you know.
But my whole point is, like, all right, I'm not saying and that is backwards. I don't care what anyone says. Like, you like because someone is a female. You can't say they can't be educated because that's what it told you in your holy book. I'm sorry, but that is fucked. I feel like the reason why they do those things is because historically
it's a control system. Those books, in my personal belief is every mainstream religion's holy text was written to control people. Yeah, and like
for sure.
That is like. I know that might upset some religious people in the chat, but
to also piggyback off that, to control female is to control to control your women population is to also control your fertility, and fertility means population. So the control over women is based off fertility. It's not based off control of female at all. It's just you're degrading the woman to nothing but other than what they're needed for, and that's just fertility.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, Beauty. I don't disagree
with that. That's what they do. That's exactly what it is. Degradation of anybody is for their use. What was the Holocaust? The degradation of humanity for work. Everything the Holocaust was for work. They didn't care about gender. It was about work. And you degrade the human form until it was only doing one thing, and that was factory-based work to create items. And that is the same thing they're doing with women in the Middle East. Degradation of female for population control.
I
systemic
agree
brainwashing.
With a lot of that, and yeah, so that's but this is exactly the, you know, the crux of my question. You know, are some cultures better than others? Can this culture, which has this historical momentum of, you know, female oppression, can that integrate within the context of modernity into the culture that is present within England, for example? And it appears that no, it cannot. I don't know.
I think I think like a lot of
and infrastructure it can. Like, we're going back to control here. With another type of control, you can create more control. But it just goes back to the human conundrum of control.
Yeah, but what my whole thing is, it's an educational issue. Humans should be educated to the point where they can make the correct decisions, morally. You know what I'm saying? Like, the reason why people make fuck decisions is because they're not taught any. They have no guidance. They're not taught anything else, you know, in a lot of cases, from what I've seen personally, you know. There was no one there to say, hey, don't do that fentanyl. That's a bad idea. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that is why there's so many broken people in America, and that's why there's so many heroin and crack addicts on the streets of London. Like, it's an educational issue, you know, and people are designed to be stupid as fuck because that's what keeps the system going, you know, like.
Well, I was just gonna say, I think, you know, within elite circles, the idea of the manipulation of the masses as an important part of democratic society, you know, this idea is well ingrained within, you know, the would-be string pullers.
Ooh.
Yeah, we didn't even have a tinfoil hat segment. We didn't draw for the tinfoil, but this whole episode has pretty much been a tinfoil hat segment almost.
Should we make it official and go into a tinfoil hat segment?
Yeah.
I think exclusive alien talk. and metaphysical talk would be
hell
the
yeah,
direction
hell
we could
yeah.
go.
All right, I gotta get my hat.
I've got a constructor hat, guys.
I have my tiara pre-made every week. Done. My tiara is pre-made every week, guys. I feel like I'm dark. And not in that sense. There we go.
Okay, we're good. They can't read my brainwaves
You
anymore.
look like a little shark this week. I love it.
They can't read my brainwaves
You have a little
anymore.
fin. You have a little fin
Yo,
on
thank
your
you for the
head. It's
follow.
so
I appreciate you, Zybes. Is it Zadas?
Yo,
Is it Zadas?
Bro,
I'm saying that right.
fin on your head. Look at your little fin.
Yeah, it's my deflector. It's my ray deflector.
Yeah. It's pretty good. It looks like a little satellite.
They can't read my brainwaves. All right.
I'm playing on my stem toy. Don't mind me.
Yeah, I know. You've been doing that for the whole podcast.
It's keeping me from not moving too much.
How do you tell if Beauty Nightmares hasn't had her medicine today?
I mean, I never have medication for my ADHD. This is the only thing I have.
Yeah, I know, but if you take your pill, your weedy pill, you don't do that.
Really?
Yeah. Have you not noticed that?
Oh.
You're like content with being zoned out. Like
Oh
you don't
my God.
need to stim as much when you're a bit baked. That's so cool, hi-fi. Let's go. Look at that.
That is like a,
Now that is the best. That's the best tinfoil hat we've had. Yeah.
That's the best tinfoil hat we've
I
had.
know, Mindless was pretty good, but that's pretty good.
Sorry, Mindless, you got beat. That's a really good tinfoil hat.
Sorry,
That's
Mindless.
effort.
Get wrecked, bitch.
Mindless beat. He beat Mindless. That's just the first best tinfoil hat we have.
Yo, as long as Mindless is coming up, I really enjoyed your episode, Mindless. I loved the tinfoil hat section. I loved everything you had to say.
Yeah, that was a really good episode,
Great
guys.
episode.
If you do want to check any of the older episodes, please subscribe to the International Degenerates YouTube channel. Hi-Fi's episode will be going up there tonight.
All right, let's cut deep. How do you feel about aliens? Let's just start there.
Aliens? So, okay. In any sort of sense-making thing, I never try to believe, any one thing 100%. So, like, I have probability spaces for these things. But I tend to fall towards the side of aliens are here, they've been here, and yeah, that's it. Aliens are real. They have been here within, in regards to human history, and they are here now.
What type of aliens do we believe in? There we go. Next
well, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
I believe in two types of aliens for sure. I don't know about others though.
If it's, I don't know how useful it is to, talk about like a more low level idea, like, oh, are they from the Pleiades, or are they from Arcturus, or, are they what we might refer to as ultra-terrestrials, like a human civilization who kind of like escaped and now is coming back, what are they interdimensional? I don't know. But regardless of what they are, I feel like, yeah, they've been here, and they are here now. And maybe we could get into the reasons why they've been, visiting humans throughout the historical record and why they're here now. But that's what I land on. But I would say
Why
I did
do you
want to
think
say
they're here? Let's cut to the gritty.
Okay.
I think this is a better question for you.
Okay. Here now because of, and again, this is just, on some days, maybe I don't subscribe to this ideology, but today, they could be here.
I love the fact it's a tinfoil cowboy hat. Sorry, it's just a lot of that. There's a lot of reasons why I like it. Sorry.
He came prepared.
So one of the reasons why I think they might be here now is because of like a catastrophe cycle on Earth. and this is kind of tangential to ideas of a lost history, of lost human civilization, like that there is this cyclical cataclysmic cycle that the earth goes through, which has perhaps multiple times reset the progress of civilization on the planet
and evolution.
So, like, if you look at so like if you look at something like this recently discovered archaeological site Göbekli Tepe, somebody like Graham Hancock,
oh yeah, I love a bit of Graham.
hell yeah, somebody like Graham Hancock would say, and again, in sense making, on some days, I'll say, okay, I'm resonating with these ideas. On other days, as new information comes in, this is kind of like again, another tangent, this idea of Bayesian thinking or Bayesian reasoning. New information comes in, you kind of compare it to your Bayesian priors. Like, does this new evidence support the hypothesis, which I was holding on to, or, does it refute it? So, Graham Hancock would talk about Göbekli Tepe being a handoff of cultural knowledge, to a tribe after, some sort of disaster. So, continuing off the Graham Hancock kind of thing, Randall Carlson is one of his, I guess you would call him a colleague.
Is that the Ancient Aliens dude?
Maybe. I don't know if he's been on Ancient Aliens. Randall Carlson
Oh, no, he's not the Ancient Alien dude.
He looks like Santa.
The Ancient Aliens dude is Giorgio A. Tsoukalos?
Yes, that guy, the one
aliens.
in the meme.
Yeah.
The guy in the meme, yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about. Randall Carlson is a geologist, and both of Randall Carlson and Graham Hancock would be proponents of what's called the Younger Dryas comet impact theory. The Younger Dryas is a geological period, almost 12,000 years old, and it appears to be this extraordinary cataclysmic event. Now, they would say, Carlson and Hancock would say that this is the result of a cometary impact or a series of cometary impacts. There are other scientists, geologists, like I'm thinking specifically of Robert Schoch, who's done work on the weathering of the Sphinx, the erosive patterns. He would suggest that it is the result. This cataclysmic period is the result of a change in solar output and more or less, what we could describe as solar weather. And I think that this process is cyclical, in that we are, on the grand scale of things, we're talking hundreds, thousands of years. On the grand scale of things, we are due for another, earth-changing, like humanity resetting cataclysm. And the evidence
2012.
of this that I would point 2012.
The Mayan calendar.
Interesting. Let's put a pin in Mayan calendar in 2012 stuff, because that is very interesting. That makes me think of McKenna's idea of time wave zero, and sort of like a topography to time. Like, more things are happening in time, sometimes fewer things are happening in time. But anyways, I would say that, if you look back at the historical record at, things like cave paintings or hieroglyphics, or even in
something for me that is quite convincing is, why is there pyramids in South America, Central Africa, East Asia? Why is there pyramids all over the whole fucking world that were built 5,000-10,000 years ago, when these populations had no way of communicating with each other. Like literally no way to cross the oceans to each other. Like how did they all decide we're just going to build pyramids in like the exact same way as each other? Like,
not to interrupt you, Cap, but to add, Stonehenge is one of the most interesting pieces of architecture because
thank you for the follow,
it lines up
Pippi.
with some of the Mayan and Egyptian temples in a way, on a geographical level.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is extraordinarily interesting. And again, you know, I'm in multiple minds about it. One, you know, is that this Hancockian, I guess, idea of like a sharing of wisdom and information, of architectural principles, this sort of thing, like a sharing, you know, or a gifting of knowledge, you know, from another race, you know, appearing to multiple peoples at the same time. There's, you know, another idea. There's an English scientist, Rupert Sheldrake, who has these ideas of what would be he would call morphogenetic fields or morphogenesis, kind of extending off of the Jungian idea of the collective unconscious, that, you know, we have some sort of a shared mind. So like, you know, when somebody thinks of something in one part of the world, it is easier for somebody else to think of the same thing in
I could get on board with that, homie. That would, you know, that would take the, that would actually be an explanation of why we have the flower of life going back 5,000-10,000 years all over the world as well. You know, the same images painted on walls, carved into stone, you know, all over the world. When these populations had no contact with each other, why are they seeing the same things? You know, why are they drawing the same patterns? You know, like
flower life is very interesting,
because that is something I've seen without seeing it, if that makes sense. So that is why I can fully get on board with what you're saying, because that is something that I have, like those sacred geometry that I've seen that has spoken to me when I've experienced certain things. Like, I haven't seen that before. It's like, and do you know, I didn't know what the flower of life was until I seen it, and then I had to research what it was. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and
but,
you know,
when I say I seen it, I mean I saw fractals. I saw, you know, fractals that weren't actually there in the world. You know, like.
I've never smoked DMT. Have you smoked DMT, Cap?
Yeah, but I have never had a breakthrough.
No breakthrough.
Yeah.
Someday I would love to have a breakthrough. I think I would love to have a breakthrough experience. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it'll be the end of me. But Terrence, he would
I'm scared though.
The chrysanthemum. I'm scared too.
Yeah, it's scary.
Well, you know, he would say, if you know, there's a bunch of different ways to use psilocybin, for example. You know, like a microdose is great just for whatever your day-to-day, you know, like a 1 or 2 gram dose is great for, you know, like going to a concert or something like that, hanging out with friends. I
don't go to a concert on 2 grams of shrooms, guys. Do not. That is not advisable. Oh my god. Like, listen, I had a microdose at Gorillas, because
yo, Cap, do you remember when we were playing the Division? I was tripping so hard.
Yeah, I remember.
It was like the world is spinning.
I literally had when I saw Gorillas in 2017, I had a microdose. Gorillas in 2017 at the O2 Arena, right? And that probably would have been a 0.3 or something, like a third of one. I listened to the Humans album, which was the tour that I saw, like, whilst I was playing Fortnite the other day on Fortnite Thursdays, because they brought the gorilla skins into Fortnite, right? So I was like,
oh.
So we listened to that whole album, and then during Sex Murder Party, which isn't a song that I listen to that much, but that was the song that I came up during at the concert, and I was having like holy flashback to that experience, and everything went red, and then it was just like Sex Murder Party, sex, murder, party, and the bass line. I was just like, and I almost had to leave. Like, it was that intense, and that was a very small amount, you know what I mean? But after that song, it was all blessed. But it got to a point during that song where I was just like, there was so much energy from the crowd, and the music was having such a powerful effect over my, like, what I was experiencing. I was like,
a trip to experience sex. What'd you say? Sex murder
party was the song. That was the song that I like experienced. Come up during. It was like,
that is powerful imagery.
When I'm on shrooms,
I love the Gorillas. Honestly, that was the best show I ever seen. The Gorillas at the O2 Arena. I think.
I don't know why.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers live was really good, but the visual aspect of the animations and how they incorporated it into the live show and like all of the lighting effects, everything they had going on with when I saw Gorillas live was just absolutely mind-blowing, you know, like such an incredible show.
Yeah. Beauty's Munchin' trail mix.
Yeah, and I could be sick off my ass from the shrooms, but trail mix, dude, for some odd reason, it's the magical food for me when I eat shrooms.
Well,
like, I could fucking down.
I can only really, if I'm tripping, I can only really eat fruit, to be real. Like, I always make sure I got some decent fruit around if I'm gonna be tripping, because, yeah. It was actually whilst going through certain experiences was when I learned that my body didn't want certain things, you know, like
certain foods when you're tripping. Isn't that? Have you noticed that you can only eat certain foods when you're tripping?
That has extended for me into my full life now, you know.
Yeah, I guess I've never. Usually when I haven't tripped in a long time. I'm about due.
I trip very frequently.
Yeah, I'm very overdue. Hi-Fi. It's been years since I've had a reset trip somewhere. You know.
You know the integrative period I think is important. You know, the trip is one thing, but you know how you take what you experienced in the trip and integrate it into your daily life. That's and that, like you said, that can take years. Every time I've tripped, it's been on an empty stomach, and I haven't eaten anything. So I guess I can't.
I would literally just vomit. I would die.
It is unsettling. It tastes like stick.
I just have IBS, lead. So I need something to comfort the poison I'm putting through my stomach.
Itchy butthole syndrome. You're talking
the IBS, yeah.
It is the IBS. The IBS is a thing. Can you hear me? Hello, hello, hello. I think my shit's fucked.
No, we can hear you.
I'm cooked.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
My green bar. My green little light isn't popping up when I talk.
It doesn't always work. It's a Discord ping thing.
I know.
But yeah, we spiraled off here. We were talking aliens, ancient architecture, the like Capital.
All right, I have a question for you. How about the Yeti or the Mothman? How do you feel about like those types of creatures?
The Yeti and the Mothman. Before we get off of aliens real quick, so I didn't get to say too much.
Yeah, okay.
So I believe that the Greys are here, and I believe the reptilians are here. I think they have different intentions. Okay. I think they may very well be having some like intergalactic wars stretching back millions of years, but that's a whole nother thing.
Sure.
My personal belief is that the Greys came here millions of years ago and designed our solar system to allow this planet to sustain biological life, created the moon with the waste to protect us from solar flares, because it is the perfect size to do that. And it's all just a little bit too designed. It's all just a little bit too perfect. Well, and I think that they keep coming back every so often to check up on us. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. These guys are still killing each other and destroying their home. Let's not invite them to the Intergalactic Council yet. Let's come back in another 10,000 years and see how they're doing, kind of thing. But we'll monitor them until then. Because I genuinely believe that, like, if I was an alien that had achieved everything and had interplanetary capabilities, you know, sustainable renewable energy, everything, and I'd already accomplished all knowledge there was, what I would do is I would go around the universe creating new opportunities for life to exist. And I think that may have very well have been what happened with our solar system, you know.
Yeah, I resonate. A lot of what you're saying resonates with me, and you know, in regards to like the solar system being, you know, an oddly perfect place for life to bloom. Yeah, either somehow, you know, the technology is so immense that they have the capability of organizing a solar system. You know, something that we just couldn't even really begin to fathom, or that this place is that they searched for it for a long time, and that this is, you know, just like an ideal sort of nursery, you know, for the development of life. But you know, that gets you into like a deeper philosophical question, which, you know, a lot of people would refer to as the fine-tuning argument for theism, and that is that, you know, the parameters of this universe are tuned so perfectly that it seems like an impossibility that it's by mistake. You know, like if the force of gravity was just a little bit different, or if, like,
It's the moon that sells me on it, bro. It's how perfect the moon is. That is what is like so convincing to me when it comes to that, you know.
That's very interesting, Cap. To hear you say that. Yeah, I think either this place could have been designed by some sort of higher intelligence, or it was you know, if we're gonna walk down this alien path, you know, that it was either designed or that it was searched and sought after and found. And then, yeah, maybe now we get into the idea of like the Anunnaki, or, you know, fallen angels, the Watchers.
It's honestly the moon, bro. The moon just sells me on the whole thing. It's too perfect. The moon does it all. It gives us our seasons. It gives us our waves, our tides. It gives us our wind. It gives us. It allows our planet to spin on its axis so perfectly with such a small wobble and tilt that it's not detrimental for us to be flying around the sun the way we do. You know, like the moon makes everything work, and it's 1/6 the size of the Earth exactly. There's only 14 miles in that maths, and the human head is 1/6 the size of the human body as well, which is just like another strange a strange thing to it when it comes to the maths of it. But the moon is just like, it gives us everything to allow our planet to be inhabitable, basically. And it's just, that's what sold me on this was designed. You know, I look up at the moon and I'm like that is the waste product of the creation of what we have here, and it's like a big fucking shield. And you see, I don't know if you've ever seen a solar eclipse, but that shit lines up perfectly. That shit lines up perfectly.
And they have been profound. Yeah, that's so a couple of things that makes
all
me
I'm
think
thinking of, I'm sorry to like interrupt, but
no,
like
go ahead.
all I thought of was like pissing outside in Idaho in the darkness and looking up at like the planets lined up while taking a pee in pure darkness.
I mean, that sounds fantastic. That's a humbling experience, is it not?
Little brain right now. The conversations have been so large that I'm starting to have big small feelings, because feelings have been
that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Yeah, I've seen a couple of solar eclipses. I traveled quite a ways for the 2017 one in the United States, and then the most recent one was last year, I think. And it passed right over Vermont, so I was in a great viewing spot. But yeah, it has been extraordinarily humbling. You know, it's awe-inspiring to see that perfectly lining up. That is very interesting.
But that for me is the biggest convincer that this is designed. You know, that this isn't just random. Like, it's, although technically, possibility-wise, the scale of the universe, the amount of solar systems and galaxies and planets that are out there,
I believe
like,
in the Men in
theoretically.
Black thing, to be honest with you.
Well, that goes back to what I'm saying. If the Greys did come and design our solar system, and this is just Project 1893 of like Zen Delta X4's like portfolio or whatever the alien's called, and they all have, you know, this could be, we could literally just be like someone's little side project, bro.
Yeah, that's how I feel. You know, like the X-Men where they're in the locker and then it's just like, yeah, well, you know.
So I'm from the UK. Beauty Nightmares is from New Jersey, and Hi-Fi is from Vermont. In the US. But that is why we are the International Degenerates Podcast, because we are from, you know, different places in the world, and we get different perspectives and different ideas, and yeah, and that's
different walks of life.
And we be international, baby. Let's go. Can infinity fit on a scale?
No.
well, if you made an infinity symbol out of metal and put it on a scale, then yeah, you could.
So in regards to infinity, I don't think like the concept of physical infinity is very useful, in sense making within cosmology.
Callie in the house, let's go.
Infinity is useful within the context of mathematics. Like, okay, we have a curve. Let's, take the derivative of this curve as it approaches infinity. But this kind of gets to an idea of, like a revolution in cosmology, an idea that, like, what does a black hole represent? Well, McKenna would say that it represents a mathematical exception. It is a singularity. We can't see beyond the event horizon. We put black holes and dark matter within the model of our cosmos to sort of even out what we understand to be the gravitational effects of planets on other planets, planetesimals, black holes, quasars, all this shit.
I love astrology.
But I'd like to talk about. We have so much. There's astrology is on my list. Beauty.
We're only like 1/3 down Hi-Fi's list right now, and it's
I got a fucking, like, have you guys ever seen It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the episode where Charlie is in the mailroom with all the red string?
Yes.
He's looking for Pepe Sylvia. I'm like, oh, well, hold on, Beauty, because that connects to this, and it connects.
Yeah. Black holes are what you get when the universe bends over and its pants were too tight. Well, a black hole is what happens when a star dies, right? And then the singularity is the point where it begins, where like the light starts to suck into it, right? And then the event horizon is the ring around the edge, which you can't see past because the light is sucked in such a speed you can't see it illuminating anything. It's bending the light. It's pulling the gravitational pull is so hard it can pull the light somehow, like, I guess, but
yeah, and
I don't know.
Effectively it's an infinite point of gravitational pull. What Terrence would say about this phenomenon is, a black hole represents a point of singularity, a mathematical exception. Maybe if your model requires 10 to the 16 exceptions, it's not a great model.
Yeah.
That's all.
There's obviously like theories that the black holes are wormholes, that there's something on the other side that you wouldn't get ripped to pieces going through it, things like that, but the thing with black holes is and dark matter, we just don't have the data to actually know what's really going on for 100. Do you know what I mean? It's still like everything we really know about is a theory, isn't it? Kind of, because we can't study it. Like,
yes. So my understanding is that our mainstream academic understanding of black holes and dark matter is through inference. We understand them to be there as a result of mathematical computation in a model where gravity runs the show, more or less. And so I wanted to, offer an alternative. I don't, ascribe to everything that this cosmology presents, but I think they offer some important points of thought, points of perspective. This idea of like an electric universe or a plasma universe, one in where the entirety of the universe isn't suspended in a hard vacuum, but rather in sort of like an electrical soup, and their plasma fills the void rather than a hard vacuum of nothing. The more data that comes back from our instruments, the more the solar system and the universe at large looks more biological than it used to, as we, started to venture out into space. Something that has gradients, dust clouds, kind of like maybe even like osmotic membranes. So that's just to offer like a different perspective on the entirety of our cosmological understanding, and something like that where electromagnetism plays a more important role in this model than it does within the mainstream academic model of like gravitational accretion. That's just a way to like view, for example, something like astrology.
What do you think about the like the size of the universe? Do you think it ends? Do you think it's constantly expanding? Do you think there's like a barrier or some kind of, like, does it go on forever? Like, yeah. What do you think about the space that hosts these galaxies? Like.
Well, I'd say like very abstractly. I think in regards to making sense of our human experience, you just have to embrace the mystery. I think there is no knowing what is beyond. Yeah, well, even maybe in principle, maybe in principle.
Maybe, yeah.
How could, like, say like we're in some sort of a confined system, and that this is making me think of I had Flower of Life written down because of the bubbles, and like maybe this is a simulated universe, and each one of those packing bubbles is like a pixel, or a three-dimensional pixel, a voxel, something like that. But in some ways I think you just have to accept the mystery of the human experience.
So much better.
But in other ways, you
want to hear what I think?
Yes.
I believe in Donut Universe. Do you know what that is?
Yes, a torus.
Yeah, I think it's a big donut. I think it's a big donut.
I'd entertain that idea a lot. Yeah. We're just kind of folding back in on ourselves, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that kind of makes more sense to me than like constantly expanding or going on forever, or like
so in the expanding universe, because like I said, the idea of infinity within the like vis-a-vis the physical infinity, it doesn't make much sense. I don't know that it's very useful. Like how can space expand into something that's not space? But the in regards to the expanding universe, the proponents of
let's go virtual. How you been, bro?
Or an electric cosmology would probably say that the universe is simply of unknown size and unknown duration. And something that one of the pieces of evidence for the expanding universe, which is called quantum redshift, the proponents of electric or plasma cosmology would say, so basically what quantum redshift is a I don't know if Cap's still listening, but quantum redshift is
he has his headset on, he can still hear you.
Okay, quantum redshift is a Doppler phenomenon. So like a lot of people have probably heard of Doppler
Mason, you got
radar.
15 minutes. What?
And basically you can understand a Doppler effect by imagining yourself standing on the side of the road, and then a car goes by, and it's like vroom. And so there's as it approaches you, there's an increase in pitch, and as it leaves, there's a decrease in pitch. And so we can think of this as like vibratory energy.
Makes sense.
A sound wave propagating a
Sorry,
fluid
my
medium.
dog is being needy.
You're good. I'll just fucking roll through this.
No, I'm just being honest.
You're good. You're good. You're good.
Hi.
You're good.
You're just nudging my leg for attention. Hi.
We can think of light in the same way. You know, as if light is approaching us, then the waveform is being compressed.
What?
You know, towards the blue end of the spectrum, and if it's departing from us, then the wave is being stretched, and it is you know, heading towards the red part of the spectrum. So
are you talking about light waves and color?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
one of
That's
the pieces of evidence of an expanding universe that mainstream cosmologists would point to is this quantum redshift, that there is a coloring to various parts of the cosmos. Yeah. What people in electric universe or plasma universe cosmology would say is that there's like a genealogy to stars, to star systems, that stars are born on an electric filament at a point of resistance, in the same way that, you know, like a light bulb on a string of Christmas lights, you know, lights up when an electrical current is you know, added to it, and it meets this point of resistance, which is the filament of the light bulb. So in this way, they suggest that stars are formed. And, you know, this is what accounts for the coloring of the quote-unquote expanding universe. So that's that.
My brain shut off halfway through all this.
I'm sorry.
I've been listening, Hi-Fi. I've been listening to everything you've been saying, and I think it's some very good stuff.
I don't know if you're talking on the topic. But...
Oh, yeah, no. I've been listening to you, Hi-Fi, and it's all very good stuff.
All right.
It's all very good stuff.
All right.
The Doppler effect, how we was taught in school, is when an ambulance drives past you, the sound is different.
Yes,
of the sirens, you know, like the sirens sound completely different when it's driving away from you than when it's approaching you, and that was kind of like,
yes,
yeah. So that was one useful thing I was taught in school about the Doppler effect, I guess, because I did actually learn that in school.
So, like I was saying, like, you know, fucking Charlie in the mailroom looking for Pepe Sylvia. All these things, I feel like I'm trying to connect to one another. This sort of electrical model for the universe, you know, makes me entertain some, like, macro physical mechanism of action for astrology, for the relative angular position of the planets on our experience here, you know, through, you know, modulation of sun energy, of modulation of, you know, electricity coming from the galactic center to our sun, pumped out to the rest of the solar system. I think that's very interesting. If Gaia is in, or maybe this will mean something to Beauty too. I was gonna say, if Gaia is in the chat, my or transit Mercury is applying to my sun and moon today, which I think is
about that stuff.
very interesting. Mercury, I took the summer off astrology.
I'm a very fake witch. That's why I say I don't identify as witch, because all that planetary bullshit is dumb to me.
Mercury would be like the messenger god, and the, you know, since it's conjuncting, that is to say, like, arriving at the same angle of my sun and my natal sun and my moon, you know, that's something that astrologers would probably take note of. And it's interesting that that is happening today, you know, on this day that, you know, I'm podcasting.
Yeah. That's pretty interesting. I care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My empathy is so deep. I am like the most cunty bitch alive. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to bring down.
You're good.
Just my personality.
You're good. I'll fucking talk to myself.
My personality. I'm
do.
good at listening, but input is not my thing. I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. I'm the listener. I'm not really.
Input is definitely your thing when you want to talk about something.
I would say
if you're passionate or you really care about something, you definitely want to, you know, put in your thoughts, 100%. Yeah, but because you don't resonate that much with you know, how the planets and stars affect us in reality, I guess that's why you are like not in tune with this particular thing, I guess. But Yeah.
Well, I'd say, astrology is definitely interesting.
No, what's up, FNR?
I think astrology is interesting in the case of like how people relate signs to personality. You know what I mean? It's like, why are these stars so relevant to my life? I don't know.
I think it's especially interesting when you learn a little about it and you learn how to read, the current transits as they apply to your natal chart, which is the chart that is cast at the moment you're born. Sometimes I think of this as like an electromagnetic snapshot.
Yeah, but I feel like natal charts are just another money grab half the time. I don't know.
Well, so I was gonna say, there are definitely pitfalls to be wary of in regards to astrology. One of them is gonna be what's called the Forer Barnum effect in psychology, and basically this describes a human tendency to take generic statements and believe them to have some sort of specific applicability to one's life. And we are pattern-seeking organisms. And then another pitfall would be like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like, oh, I've got there's a Saturn Sun square coming up, and whatever, it's conjunct my Mars. Like, oh, this is gonna be such a hard transit to deal with. And then because you've primed yourself with this idea, that is gonna manifest in your experience. So I would say, astrology is interesting to look into, but I would definitely
for me personally,
I
feel like there could be something at play there. I feel like the sun and the moon definitely have a massive effect on me, like hugely. Like the sun, especially when I feel the sun on my skin, I like that is something that is like definitely a significant like thing. But
I like being outside.
The way that the planets align and where the stars are in the sky and stuff like that, I really don't know too much about it. But 100%, the sun is like a very powerful thing. The moon is a very powerful thing. There's something going on there that I don't truly understand, but
Yeah, in regards to the sun, there's a lot of emerging literature linking solar output to various health metrics. Cardiovascular events, mental health breakdown, suicide events, increased murder rates. This is all when we see periods of increased solar activity. So in regards to that, the sun specifically, I think that's becoming more and more well documented. And in what I mentioned before in regards to plasma cosmology and electric universe cosmology, the sun effectively, in my model of astrology, the sun is like the gain knob on the electric circuit of like a guitar amplifier. So at periods of increased solar activity, the modulation of the relative angular positions of the planets, are more pronounced. And similarly with the moon, like, for years, it's been regarded as like a wives' tale that, children and people in nursing homes, etc., act up, or animals, husbandry, they act up at a full moon. And people would say, oh, well, this is just because they can see at night, they're more likely to be out, this, that, and the other. But there's could be some sort of a more like empirical effect going on where the moon moves into, at a full moon, moves it is opposite the sun, it is behind the earth, and it is in what's called the magnetotail of our
mutant kind.
Oh my god.
And
Sorry.
and so like moving into the magneto tail like allows charged particles from the radiation belts to move back into the atmosphere, and that it intertwines with the aforementioned increase in cardiovascular events, in like mania, in these sort of thing, in these health metrics. So I think it is an incredible leap of hubris to believe that we really have too much figured out about anything. Like I was saying before in regards to the flower of life, we could be in a simulation, we could be in a sea turtle's dream. It's who knows where we are. I think it's the best thing that you can do is kind of just embrace the mystery of the human experience, and be like, yo, this is where I'm at. I don't know how I got here. I don't know where I'm going. Let's go.
I think the mystery adds to it, though. We're not meant to know yet, at least. We're still.
Yeah.
This goes to our evolution overtaking our physiology, our actual, the evolution of our brain and our mind and our intelligence, way surpassing our physical beings. And I believe in the Stone Ape theory. I think that's how that happened. But
yeah.
That is definitely something that would explain a lot, to me at least.
Yeah, I think so. The Stone Ape hypothesis, very interesting.
I think that's what propelled the evolution of our brain to the point where, the combination of being able to make noises, turning into speech, having opposable thumbs and hands, being able to pick up things, and eating the shrimmies off the floor. Those three things combined propelled our intelligence at such a fast evolutionary rate. That's why we are still these super intelligent beings in these meat sacks, basically. That has the evolution of our meat sacks hasn't caught up to the evolution of our brain, and it's we're
yeah.
And we're too smart for our own good. In some ways, in that aspect,
Yeah, there's some, I can't, I'm gonna have to paraphrase. I can't remember the quote, I can't remember the person, but it's something like, we're like, Neolithic organisms or Paleolithic organisms with, pre-industrial morals with, godlike weaponry. Where we have outgrown the organism. I think is, that's what came to mind for me when you said that, Cap. So I agree. But that makes me think of something that came up with Mindless. This idea of transhumanism and saying we have outgrown this organism. There's I think an author, Arthur Kessler, who said that humans are hardwired for homicide, and that we need some sort of a pharmacological intervention, to reroute. You look at, again, back to primate dominance hierarchies. We have extremely violent ancestry, and maybe it is time, maybe not, I don't know, but maybe it is time to use our reflectivity, the self-reflecting ape, the Homo sapien sapien, use that reflectivity to steer our evolution away from these barbaric, primordial roots, and into something that can step away from the sort of limbic system, biological programming that we were talking about before, the male dominance hierarchy, the hard-bodied, sharp-toothed young males rising to the top of the pack. That maybe it is time to create some newer vessel you know, to move consciousness into the future.
Well, we have that, and it's capitalism, and it sucks. and it's
I'm talking like
the...
a whole nother, like a Neuralink kind of thing.
Oh,
like,
you mean like a hive mind kind of awakening, like a global spiritual awakening or something like.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's, I guess you could take a, you know, a utopian view or a dystopian view. You know, when Mindless was on, we kind of took a more dystopian view that, you know, like say everybody got a Neuralink chip, you know, when they were 8 or whatever. You know, it would result in, you know, an incredible increase in cognitive ability, but maybe you could get hacked. You know, maybe they could like slip some programming in. You know? But there's this utopian idea, like you're saying. Yeah, maybe that's a hive mind. Maybe it's like a, and this is sort of what Terrence was saying.
I think we are all connected in some way, consciously. You know,
a nervous system for the world, and yeah, through that we're going to be able to, you know, be more empathetic. You know, we can experience the experience of another, you know, through this system. So yeah, what were you gonna say, Cap?
I actually was wanting to ask you if you'd ever experienced any like alien encounter or paranormal activity or some kind of like otherworldly like experience or
No.
Have you ever seen a UFO? Have you ever seen anything in the sky and you've been like, that's not a satellite or a plane?
Nope, nothing. And I will say, you know, I'm like a
so everything that's made you question, like the things that you've questioned, and has been from your own like learnings and experiences. Then it's not you didn't see something one day and was like, oh, like that's, you know,
yeah,
I've been lied to.
Yeah, there's no watershed moment, no sort of inflection point. Again, back to Terrence. You know, he'd say something like, you know, I'm a screwball and a freak, but I'm a skeptic and a rationalist. Like, you know, show me something. And, you know, that's more or less where I'm at. Like, you know, I will entertain some wild ideas, but, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a rationalist. I'm trying to make sense of the world, you know, based on something that logically follows some, you know, like prior axiom I've established. Yeah, so everything that I think I try to, you know, like arrive at, and not just, you know, I feel like the only thing you can like quote unquote believe in is you know, the presence or absence of some higher power, some unifying force. Yeah, and other than that, I think, you know, you should be trying to arrive at your conclusions rationally. You know, it's fine to believe in a creator. I do, but I still try to make sense of the reality in which I find myself, you know, through some sort of skepticism, through the scientific method. You know, trying, like I was saying before, Bayesian reasoning, trying to take what I think I've established, and you know, compare it to new evidence and proceed from there.
Yeah, interesting, dude. You definitely have a lot of
yeah,
interesting thought processes going on up in that brain. Beauty Nightmares, have you ever been abducted by aliens? I don't know if I've ever asked you before.
I don't know.
I can't remember if I did.
Not really.
I was drinking a lot that night.
I mean, valid. I mean, that is something I would do, but honestly, I have a lot of like clairvoyant dreams and very vivid dreams, and I'm a lucid dreamer, so like there could have been like mind abduction without the body, you know, like maybe some psionic brain pickup and like astral movement through the mind, but I really don't think I've ever been like physically abducted by aliens.
That's interesting.
You think you've been you think your brainwaves got hacked? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we wear the tinfoil, yeah?
Yeah.
Yo! That government.
So for me, I don't think it's ever been like actual abduction. I think it's been more like communicative things and like signs and like weird moments. I like all my dreams are very oddly vivid, and I've like seen a lot of things that has happened. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well, it's interesting about like, you know, just to bring up the idea of like an astral abduction. There's a one of
what, someone like kidnapping your soul?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
I've read something
like
about that once
kidnapping.
before.
Because like I've never felt like, you know how like with sleep paralysis people say like they wake up and they're frozen and they're conscious of their body. Like I've never felt my body like out of my control.
Oh, I have definitely left my body. I've definitely left my body, but never. Only under the influence of certain things. But I have astral projected.
Your soul is still in your body, and your physical corpse being taken by alien. Like I can't say that's an experience I've had.
Oh, I was just talking about astral projection because I thought we got onto a different topic. But but like I've read that if you're astral projecting, like the bad juju spirits can come and like kidnap your spirit and you can't get back to your body and shit, and you get stuck in like the astral realm and shit.
Yeah, that happens.
Well, that's kind of along the lines of what I was reminded of. I can't remember. There's a guy, an author, Robert Monroe. He wrote I think it's called Journeys Out of the Body.
Yeah, or they jump in your body. Yeah, like someone else's spirit hopping in your in your body whilst your soul ain't in it no more because you're astral projecting. Like that's scary, bro.
Yeah, it's like somebody hopping in your car in Fortnite and driving off.
Yeah.
But yeah, he mentioned this idea that, you know, people who have learned to astral travel have like tried to go to the White House, for example, and they've been met with guards in the astral plane to protect the president. Now, I don't know if that's true, but that's the first thing that came to mind.
I have actually never
that's interesting.
tried that.
I heard about that.
I kind of want to astral project to the White House now.
The
fuck? Report back.
When I left my body, I didn't exactly have full control over where I was going or what I was doing. From my memory, it was like almost like it was an automated experience. Like it wasn't like I was Peter Pan and I was flying like through the sky. The room I was in had slowly gotten away from me into a tiny little square of light, and I'd like risen above, and I could see a top-down like thing of the room I was in, my body on the sofa, and it was just going into the distance, and then everything else was just completely black, but above me was another version of myself that was made out of like light or something. I couldn't even tell you, but it was like gold, but it was also like every color you could ever even think of, and it was me, and it was trying to like tell me something, like it was like, I guess it was trying to guide me to something. You know, I definitely experienced something because I came out of that trip a completely different person. But you know, that was the first time I would say about my spirit like left my body or whatever. But I remember like when I went back into my body, it was like a vacuum. Someone turned on a vacuum in my body, and it sucked my soul straight back into it. Like like from where I had floated off to, basically. Like that was the best way I could explain it. But that was what I experienced.
Yeah, that's tremendously interesting. That's very cool. You know, I mean, that
it also scared me, and ever since then, I've never gone that deep into a state like that before because it was the unknown, you know, and it was scary, like.
Yeah. So I mean, that circles us back to Stone Ape hypothesis, and you know what an experience that must have been for, you know, the proto hominid who's like just developing language, who's just, you know, developing some sort of framework within which to, you know, talk about these sort of things, to be presented with that, you know, what a, like I said before, I think, you know, it's probably a multivariate confluence that's, you know, resulted in the rapid increase of the human brain capacity. But, you know, the neurogenic properties that psilocybin contains, you know, as elucidated within the context of modernity, it's hard to ignore. And to think that, you know, that sort of inner experience is combined with a developing mind, a mind who is just, you know, discovering the ability to like cook food on a fire, is, you know, including new micronutrients in their diet, this, you know, psychedelic tremendum combined with the neurogenerative properties of psilocybin, it's very hard to ignore, in my opinion.
It's definitely played a massive part in our history, in my opinion. Like, I know there's not, you can't just say like that's exactly what happened, but from what I've experienced and what I've learned and what I've seen throughout my life, like, that is definitely something that helped humanity progress, in my opinion. Like, and it's something that could potentially like be our saving grace, I think, as a species, as a you know. But
yeah, well,
a lot of people don't want to hear it, you know. A lot of people and that's why they, in the 70s, they shut down the research for it, and it's only 50 years later the same scientists that was at the forefront of how psilocybin can benefit like the human body in ways, all of that research was shut down in the 70s, and it's the same scientists have only just been able to resume their research. And I was watching this documentary recently about this, and it's the same dudes, and they was literally like, oh, I've been waiting 50 years to continue my research on psilocybin, and I had to stop because the government took me off of it and made it illegal, you know, like.
Yeah, one of the main institutions within the states for psychedelic research is called MAPS, MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies, and it's headed by this guy Rick Doblin, who is a friend of Terence McKenna's, who's, yeah, like you said, he's been doing this work since the sweeping Psychedelic Act of the early 70s. He's still at it, you know. He's somebody who's been championing the therapeutic benefits of psilocybin and MDMA and other psychedelics for decades now. And it's a shame, it's a travesty that it's taken us, you know, this long to arrive at this place. But, you know, like I was saying earlier, this guy, I think Arthur Kessler, who said, you know, humans are hardwired for homicide, we need a pharmacological intervention. You know, psilocybin might very well be that intervention. And, you know, I imagine a world where, you know, young men and women are guided into a psilocybin experience as like a rite of passage into adulthood. And, you know, if this was the case, if there was an institution, if there was a scaffolding, you know, to which, you know, young people
that's what many ancient tribes did, bro. They would mix up the ayahuasca potion and you drink it when you become an adult, and then you would, you know, like that's what a lot of ancient tribes from all over the world did, similar things to that, you know, like
incredibly more cohesive, more empathetic, you know, more like species oriented society, if we could, or at least, you know, any given culture, American culture, for example, I think it, you know, could be extraordinarily useful for the cohesion and, you know, the forward progress of this society.
I genuinely believe that the powers that be or whatever wish to curb and stop that as much as they can, because having a bunch of people that know what's going on, that are actually logical thinkers, is not beneficial to the money machine that keeps everything turning, that keeps everyone at the top's pockets filled, you know, during their temporary existence here. Like,
I definitely agree with that.
So that is why we don't you know, we have the stigma around psychedelics. That is why we don't have the research available on how it can benefit us, even though we've had the means to obtain that for so long. And it's also like one of the things that I hope to see change in the near future for humanity, and it has been. And there's all of these studies coming out about like people with PTSD, anxiety, and depression, and the huge benefits that some of these compounds can have to people suffering with those ailments. Like, but yeah, I'm hopeful. We're going in the right direction. It's just trying to break down all of these barriers and the social stigma around it as well, because of what, you know, they've done basically.
I agree. But it's like yeah, we're turning in the right direction. It's gonna be slow. It's like steering a ship, you know. It's hard to slow down. It's hard to turn, but yeah, I think we're headed in the right direction. Little by little, people are waking up. It's hard to argue against, you know.
Have you noticed the word woke used to mean a good thing? It used to be something that meant someone was like clued up about what's really going on, and now it just means you're like a lefty, basically, like a far lefty, like, and it's just and that is something that I think has been like programmed in recently, because they don't want people to be the old, you know, the old meaning of woke, so they've turned it into a negative concept. So whenever anyone ever says, you know, but before all of that happened, you know, being woke was a good thing. It means that you fucking was, you know, you pull the wool from your eyes and you could really see what was happening in the space we live, you know, like,
you know, this could be considered a very woke conversation, you know, probably not today the way that we talk about woke, but like you were talking about before, this is a very woke conversation. You know, some of the things we were talking about earlier, like gender roles, for example, you know, that would not be at all woke, even though I feel like we could describe this.
Well, it literally used to mean spiritually awakened. Like, it means that someone that has gone through a spiritual awakening. It doesn't not mean that now at all whatsoever. Like, pretty much.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, so there's an inflection point in this sort of cultural divide somewhere around 2008. In the United States, we had the financial crisis, and at the time there was this movement called Occupy Wall Street, and there was this idea: we are the 99% and we're teaming up against the 1%. They were, you know, just lined up, they were camped out on Wall Street, and since then there has been, I feel like, an increased effort to stoke divide among lines of race, among gender, you know, of political ideology, of religion, and it has been in an effort to distract from this "we are the 99%." It is this enormous mass of us versus, you know, this small financial elite. You know, it is much more useful to them to have the masses clawing at each other about ideas of difference in race and sex and, you know, religious ideology, etc. It is useful to, again, tying back in this idea of the dominator versus partnership culture. It is useful to the dominator culture to have the democratic masses fighting with each other rather than with their eyes focused on the small elite who are, you know, bureaucratically pulling strings here and there to affect the sort of change that they desire.
Yeah, it's fucked.
It is fucked.
I'm totally sorry, but I'm done.
Yeah, no,
I'm not even trying to be
I could tell you've fallen off a couple times, but high five. I've kept up with you the whole way, bro.
I'm sorry. I checked out, guys. I'm not trying to be mean or anything, but like,
You're good, beauty. We've been at it a while.
Yeah,
that's
the cognitive dissonance kicking in over there.
It's definitely what you're describing.
I'm just kidding. I'm just playing.
I love you guys to death, but you know the Peanuts when the parents are talking, like it's gone for me,
Peanuts
guys.
Cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, you two are just like fucking gelling so hard, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
Well, look at this fucking hat I made, beauty. What the hell do you expect?
Yeah.
No, it's fabulous. The hat is not a complaint.
No, we should probably aim to wrap up in like 5 minutes. Let's take this opportunity to end the tinfoil hat segment, and we can begin
all right, and let me
our outro segment.
I'll be right back. 30 seconds.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm not trying to be mean.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
It wasn't like I could let them keep. I was gonna let you guys keep going, but I'm like.
The tinfoil cowboy hat was elite. Yeah, that was next level. We've never. Well, Mindless actually made a really cool hat with like antennas on it and like bubbles and like it was really cool.
It's really cool.
But the cowboy hat is definitely up there for sure.
Yeah, it's number 1.
Yeah, I thought about making a bucket hat, like a tinfoil bucket hat, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be mean or anything. It's just if you guys were gonna, it was just a warning. Don't directly address me because I fucking don't know anymore. I don't fucking know anymore.
Yeah, don't put two guys that have done a lot of trippies in the same box together for too long.
Yeah, I mean, I get the conversation and where it's going. It's just so many big words and so many paragraphs that like my ADHD it just checked out on you guys really bad. It's like listening to a
I know you neighbor girl, but I was about to be like, what do you think? That's Beauty Nightmares. That is
sorry, but
that's my co-streamer right now. That's the admin. That's the admin of the community ship and also the stream team manager of the community ship, Beauty Nightmares.
I got checked out like 40 minutes ago. I'm not gonna front. I'm a musclehead. Like I just like hiking and drinking beer. Like my existence is very simple in my mind. It's just like I'm here. You
like to dip your toe. You like to dip your toe in the unknown and the freaky and the weird and the.
I know, but
you do get
dust thing, bro. Like the technicality behind the cosmic dust is something that I don't think about and I don't care for.
Yeah, you got lost along the way because we got
like the science
deep,
behind cosmic dust is something that I don't really question. You know, like for me, it's like cool, it's interesting, but it doesn't really tickle my like soul juice. You know what I mean? Like the science behind the cosmos is a lot for me. Like. Once you started talking about light frequency to like polarity, I was like, bro,
we haven't been talking about that for ages. We've been talking about all sorts since then.
Like, I feel like in many ways, it like I find that it helps me appreciate more, you know, the experience that I'm having, this human experience inside this body as part of like the Gaian superorganism that is Earth, you know, that is part of this solar system. You know, it's like I'm a little piece of this universal mechanism.
I guess for me, you know, I think my perspective has changed because I used to be a lot like that when I was younger, and I cared about science and quarks and like how the body related to the Earth. And then I went hiking, and I had a beer in a mountain, and I was like, bro, who gives a shit? And that's pretty much when everything kind of changed for me.
I could never be like that. I will always need more knowledge. I will always crave to learn. I will always need answers. I am programmed to seek the truth and actually like acquire as much
It drove me up a wall because you never
information
know.
that I can to make sense out of everything I can, and that's just how I've always been. Like,
I used to be that way too, but that's funny because when I did my first trip, I changed totally differently. I became more like this.
I became like that from my experiences though. Before I didn't give a fuck about anyone. I had no empathy. I had no love for anything. I didn't care about myself, anyone else, anything else. I just wanted to have fun, live life, and party. Basically, that was my whole thing. And then I went through these experiences, and now I learned compassion. I learned how to love. I learned empathy. I learned how to, you know, a better structure of what I believe is a good person, you know, and like also it exploded my brain for want of knowledge. You know, I didn't want to learn anything after I left school. I only learned things that benefited me. I only learned mechanics for my car so I could save money and things like that. You know, I would like learn practical shit when I needed it. I didn't care for actual like words, intelligence and knowledge and like philosophy or anything like that. Like that all came after I like had my change, if you will. But I will never stop trying to acquire more knowledge and information to be a better person, to help other people be a better people, and also just have a better understanding of everyone and everything, because that is how progression is made, I believe, personally, within ourselves and our existence and environments and societies and communities. I don't know. That's just me.
I feel you, Cap. But I feel what Beauty is saying too. You know, at some point,
it is
like
beautiful to break away
before,
from that. I just don't think I ever could, you know, from what I've experienced and who I am. But that's why we're all wired differently, you know, like.
I agree.
I think when I did my first big trip and I had my ego death, I strayed from obsessing, because I always obsessed about every detail when I was younger, and like I gave so much of myself to people and I hurt myself in the process. And my trip really showed me the value of just accepting the moment for surrender and accepting the moment for what it is. Because like every time I've ever tripped, I've just seen the beauty in the things around me and appreciate it for what it was. Like, my trips have never been very hallucinogenic at all. They've always been very surrealistic. Like, everything around me would just make more sense, and the voices I heard would just tell me, chill out. You know, I don't know, but that's, everybody's different.
No, I think
you need to eat more, mate. You need to eat more.
Yeah. Well, Terrence used to say, you know, buy a scale. You know, the great problem is that people don't take enough. Buy a scale. But yeah, I 100% feel what Beauty is saying. And you know, that surrender aspect to psychedelia is very important. You know, at some level, you know, you can swim as hard as you want, but you're going to be pushed by the tide of, you know, eternity. You can't outswim the tide of eternity. And, you know, somewhere I'm always going to be seeking, you know, what I ascertain to be truth, but I'm also, you know, going to keep in mind that, you know, I am caught up in this extraordinary process, and I am just but a little part of it, and I feel like I have agency over where I go, but, you know, maybe that agency is, you know, inconsequential compared to, you know, the tide of the cosmos. And regardless of the sort of things that I hope to accomplish in this life, you know, we're all gonna end up in the same boat. We're all gonna walk through death's door and never be able to report back about what's on the other side. You know, there's always gonna be that unknowingness, and I think that's important to embrace.
Babies.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important because, you know, for the future of humanity, something's got to give us at some point. We can't just be ignorant forever to all of these things that are gonna destroy us, and we need to do better as a species, I think. Like,
I agree. I think we're waking up as a whole. I think a lot of people are coming, and, you know, conversations like this help that process. You know, I think there's been a lot of valuable little nuggets in here, you know, stuff that'll make people think, maybe some ideas that people haven't been exposed to before. I think we're on the right track, and we just gotta keep going. It's gonna be a messy process, you know, like we were saying before, turning a ship, you know, that's, you know, sailing across the Atlantic. It takes a long time. It's not like you can just reverse course and start backtracking. You have to really loop around. You have to deal with the inertia of the past as you know, try to reorient yourself for the future. So it's hard, but yeah, I think we're on the right track. I think I'm happy to be alive today. I think, you know, we have so much opportunity where, you know, there's so much prosperity to go around.
Cap, shut up. He's so done with
What the hell are you guys doing?
she's putting on fucking
so
roll-on deodorant,
ceiling.
bro. She hasn't even had a shower. She just sitting down at her desk all stinky, like putting on a roll-on deodorant over a stank, like it's gonna fucking do something.
Oh, fucking, it wasn't looking.
All you've done is made your fucking roll on deodorant stinky.
It's so great. I knew you were gonna say something. I knew it. You're just holding it in.
Bro, I'm not saying anything. We gotta wrap this up anyway. We've done 2.5 hours, so
yeah.
No, 3.5 hours. Sorry, but yeah, hi-fi. Anyway, hi-fi. What makes you a degenerate?
Well, okay, so this is gonna be a bit of an answer. I've thought about this one. I'll just quickly say, I started smoking weed again after a period of abstinence at the beginning of the summer. And since then, I've been using my stove burner as a lighter. So that's what makes me a degenerate.
Okay, that's a pretty good answer.
I've just been smoking over the stove. But you know, I think I get the feeling that you guys are kind of, you know, playful with this language of degeneracy. You know, like you hold on to that lightly. What am I?
Oh, I
correct
hold on to that with a fucking badge.
Well,
I was honor.
I was afraid of that, Beauty. I was afraid you would say that.
I don't hold on to that lightly at all.
I think
it's a lifestyle.
As long as you can smile about it, I think that's good. You know, I think, you know, the universe knows what you mean, not what you say. But I think if you hold on to a feeling, like an emotion of degeneracy, like as a core belief, then
it's a core belief, definitely.
Well, okay. So there's this part of your brain. This kind of is this is tangential to like law of attraction or law of assumption, but we can kind of put a pin or table those, you know, like metaphysical ideas and talk about like some neuroscientific principles. If you have a core belief that, you know, I am a degenerate, there's a part of your brain called the reticular activation system, the RAS. And basically what this part of your brain does is it's a filtering mechanism. So if you've ever learned a new word, or like your mom gets a new car, or you're in a crowded room of buzzing conversation and you hear your name, and you kind of like pull your name out from the conversation, this is the reticular activation system. It's a filtering mechanism. So the new word that you learned, it had been there the whole time. You're just noticing it now because you've assigned a new weight, you know, as a filter. The car on the road that you now see all the time, it was always there, but you see it because of this new filter, because your mom got one. Or, you know, you pull your name as signal out of the noise of a conversation because your name is, you know, of great importance to you in this filtering mechanism. So if you have a core belief that says, I'm a degenerate, I am this, I am that, I am inadequate, I am not smart enough, I'm not tall enough, I'm not handsome enough, whatever, you're going to find pieces of evidence in your daily experience that support that. There's a
I see what you're saying, but can I just interject real quick? Like, for me, it's like the word degenerate and how like I represent myself as an international degenerate, you know, it's less about like the decline and the deterioration meaning of it, and it's more about like the breaking away from normality of society, you know, being that different person who's on a different level to what is considered normal, because I personally believe that it's a more noble path, like, to be real, like.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. You know, I think that's what I was saying before. Like, it's the feeling, you know, words are just, you know, they're small mouth noises which encapsulate an idea. And as long as you have the positive feeling and the idea that, you know, this piece of language, evokes in you, if it's positive, that's fine. But I think if you have a core belief that says, you know, I'm a degenerate and that's, you know, that's bad, I'm, you know, the dregs of society, you're going to find evidence of that. So if your idea of degeneracy is somebody who, you know, escapes convention and thinks outside the box and, you know, is untroubled by the conforming pressures of society, that's good. but I think
that's where what it is for me. It's not about the
That's it, my friend.
Like
that's it. You hit the nail.
It's not like striving to be of a low quality, which you could apply that word to that process, but it's for me it just has a different representation, like the not being a normie essentially, like being a logical thinker, being able to come to my own conclusion without being told that's what's going on. That's kind of more what it represents to me, yo, what's up, Kirk?
Perfect. Yeah, that's all I could have hoped for out of that. I think that's great.
Fish. It's over here. Look. Keep
going. So yeah, hi-fi. We actually didn't talk anything about your streaming or your content. So do you want to quickly?
I know. Well, talk
about what you do
mention, here. I'll quickly mention. Well, I guess there's a few things I'll quickly mention at length. No. I'll quickly mention. Earlier you were saying isn't it interesting that the proportion of the moon to the sun, moon to the earth, these sort of proportions appear in various spots within nature. Like you said, the proportion of the human head is
it's one sixth of the size of the human body, which is the same maths that go into the and if you take the exact mass of the human body and the scaling of the head to the body of a human, and you apply that to the moon and the earth, there's only 14 miles difference in that maths.
Yeah, okay, so that kind of stuff is extraordinarily interesting to me, and it kind of evokes this or invokes this idea of God as a watchmaker, somebody who kind of built the simulation and let it go, or something like that. And that's where a lot of the hi-fi lore comes from. Phi is the Greek letter which symbolizes the golden ratio, and without going into a whole thing about the golden ratio, I kind of find it as or think of it as a scaling coefficient for the universe. If God, the creator, wanted to scale something in, it's referred to as the divine proportion, and he'd be okay, let's apply the golden ratio. Here's the proportion in, the parts of our finger, or you're saying, the sizes of the planets, or something like that. There's a scaling ratio which is applied to the entirety of the cosmos. So I mean that's part of the streaming journey is the hi-fi thing, the PHI, the golden ratio.
I like that. I like how you tied that into it. I'm not gonna lie, I just thought it was just a play on words, of a hi-fi, a hi-fi system, sound system.
Yeah, and it definitely is that too.
I didn't know that the golden you tie, about the the phi symbol. I didn't. That's a new revelation for me when it comes to your name. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you look at I mean, I'm offline right now, so you should be able to see it if you brought up my page. My logo is a golden triangle with a golden spiral around it, and it's just all filled in. And that golden triangle is one of the tips of a 5-pointed star, but it get turned upside down and get called a pentagram. But that golden triangle can infinitely recurse on itself. You can draw a golden spiral around it.
That's the Fibonacci, yo. That's the old Fibonacci, the golden ratio. Yeah.
It's a red line triangle spiral drawing. Yeah.
There's Fibonacci's all over the shop, mate. It's there are a lot of things that I don't know, made me think a lot is when I've seen different things in nature at different scales. I don't know if you've seen the neurons in a brain or some shit. I've seen a picture of it. It looks like lightning. If you look at a cat curled up, it's the fucking Fibonacci, yo. If you look at a snail shell, it's a Fibonacci, bro. If you do you know what I mean? There's so many places in nature and evolution that this maths presents itself is kind of questionable. I don't know. It's a bit of a mad one.
Yeah, that's the whole hi-fi lore. I find that shit fascinating. I think that's so cool. You know, it started. I was in crypto forums learning about technical analysis and trading, and Fibonacci numbers, Fibonacci ratios are integral to technical analysis. You know, I think now it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy because the algorithms that trade you know, these securities or cryptos, you know, are programmed to look for those Fibonacci relationships, but they're programmed to look for those relationships because they just kind of like appeared organically within, you know, the price action over time. So that's where hi-fi came from. That's it. I don't know.
Nice, dude. And
yeah.
well, what do you do over on here?
On Twitch?
Yeah.
Right now we're playing Fortnite.
Fortnite. I feel like you're selling yourself short with just Fortnite, bro. We need to get you doing some more stuff like this. To be fair, this is like you're in your element right now.
I love podcasting. I'll have myself a podcast. For sure. This is one of being you know, chatting like this on Twitch is my favorite part. I guess just in regards to Fortnite, quick, we'll mention Washift. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Washift. That's one of the things that I highlight on my channel. It's an alternative to WASD. And without going into the whole thing, basically, like, if you think about using WASD, if you think about your index finger pressing D for right strafe, you know, at that moment that you're engaging right strafe, you can't press E, you can't press 3, 4, R, F, C, V, G, T. You just don't have access to your index finger. And so this is what I would call like a scheduling error, a mutual exclusivity. Whoops. And so Washift, instead of using these 3 fingers, I use these 3 fingers to move, and then that leaves my index finger free to select from.
Do you really?
What in like? Yeah.
I'll have to watch you because you don't have a keyboard cam up, but you have like where you can see what keys is pressed, right?
No, yeah, I got a keyboard cam. It's not. I just got a new like a boom arm so I can mount.
Bro, I could never. How'd you hit your sprint? How'd you hit your crouch?
So Washift, it's shift is left strafe. A is right strafe. And then WS is forward and backwards.
Oh, and bro, that's like combining. Oh no, yeah, I don't like
that. The forward and backward doesn't change. The left and right is hard to get used to. But I've been playing for like, I don't know, 7-8 years now like this, so I can't play WS.
So what I've done is all of those
like the arrow key?
All of those things that you're talking about that you can't access when you're using D. Yeah, I have bound somewhere else where I can on my whereas that's my mouse where I can hit it with my thumb if I hit B or N or V, you know, like above my space bar. But I will like I've set my controls up for every game to first it was COD, I set it up like, and then I've blueprinted that across any game with this, you know, similar controls.
Yeah, and you know, Washift is kind of like a commentary on like gaming movement input, if you will, because like you're saying, there are multiple solutions to deal with that mutual exclusivity problem. Binding to mouse using your thumb. I'm
gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
All right. You know, even something like, you know, people will say like, oh, just get an I don't know how to say it, Azeron or Azeron.
Azerion Cyborg too. Yeah, that's what the homie Diehard uses. And I've honestly been thinking about getting one of these because my left hand is so fucked from where I broke my metacarpal and I cut all the way through here and I had to have plastic surgery and they basically like put my tendons back together and put my finger back on. It's I I'm not going to be able to keyboard and mouse forever, dude. I'm not going to be able to do this forever. Like, the arthritis in my pinky knuckle is so bad. After a long gaming session, I really feel it, man. Like, trying to hit that shift and that control with that pinky, like, with the bones so messed up in my hands, you know, like, it's not going to last forever, but
for sure.
I'm going to have to think about something else.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, yeah, that's part of the conversation is, you know, using, like, for movement, for example, an analog stick versus, you know, having a key specifically for strafe left, strafe right. Like, if you have WASD, you can trigger strafe left, strafe right in sequence much more quickly than you can with the analog stick. You know, it's like rolling your fingers on a musical instrument, as opposed to, you know, moving your thumb back and forth. There's less mechanical latency using a keyboard for left and right strafe than there is with an analog stick. So, you know, something like the Azeron, you know, is a great step in the right direction, I think. But you know, it leaves a lot to be desired. And Washift, for me, is just kind of like, it's a commentary on that. It was born out of a frustration of trying to, you know, press too many buttons at the same time with Fortnite. I feel like it's kind of like a stepping stone along the way to better gaming input.
Yeah, nice, dude. You're a very good Fortnite player. Hi-Fi is one of our best keyboard and mouse players that we have that comes to the Thursday Fuckeries Fortnite customs.
Hell yeah.
If there isn't someone complaining about Hi-Fi on a Fortnite Thursday, that means he hasn't joined the lobby yet. Love you, Cappy. Gonna head off, get some food. How podcast go? Well, thank you for the raid, guy. I appreciate you. And welcome, Raiders. We're actually just preparing to wrap up this podcast. This has been a special 4-hour-long edition of the podcast, more than twice as long as any other podcast that we've ever done. So we definitely had to pull out all the stops for Hi-Fi, because I know that he has a very interesting mind, as I'm sure you guys are now aware, and
he's a little bit long-winded.
But yeah, man, what is next for you then? You say you wanted to start your own kind of podcast format, and then continue with this kind of content, I'd imagine, as well as gaming content.
Yep. I don't like to talk about my goals publicly too much, but I feel like, you know, I've gotten enough momentum on this one where it's just kind of like the next logical step. So, you know, I can just kind of like let the snowball keep rolling. I want to talk to all sorts of interesting people, streamers, non-streamers, you know, scientists, comedians, whatever. Anybody who's doing something interesting, anybody who's got a interesting perspective. I'll be bringing back more variety besides Fortnite. I'll tell you, Fungi's Fortnite stream really inspired me. That's when almost immediately after I found Fungi, you rated him one day. I was like, all right, Fortnite is what brought me into streaming. You know, Fortnite is what birthed this Washift idea. It is definitely my favorite shooting game of all time. So I do want to keep playing Fortnite, but I've had a lot of fun playing other games too. One of the last things I did before I switched to Fortnite was do a Super Mario 64 speed run. That was so much fun. You know, I've played some old PlayStation games that I couldn't beat as a kid. I got a list of those that I want to check off. I've been streaming every day for coming up on a year, and when I get to that spot, I want to, you know, kind of take a beat and reassess if I want to keep streaming every day, if I want to do it more infrequently. We'll see. But right now, I feel like we're on the right track.
And where can people find you other than Twitch? Are you on socials and stuff?
I would like to be more. There are HIPHI_ on Twitch, and there are links from there. You can find some Washift stuff on my TikTok, which is linked in my Twitch.
Nice.
I've got some comedy videos on YouTube under Hi-Fi at HIPHI underscore. Yeah, I think that's
So YouTube
it.
and TikTok. Hell yeah, let's go. Nice.
Yeah, HIPHI underscore.
Make sure you
Couple of
guys
underscores
show
on
some love
TikTok.
to Hi-Fi, not only on Twitch, but go and follow him on TikTok and subscribe to his YouTube channel as well. All of those links will be included in the episode upload when I get it on YouTube later tonight. But yeah, so how long have you been streaming for?
I'm really not even sure. My earliest clip is from 2019.
But
that's, I think, just a one-off.
You weren't taking it seriously back then.
Account creation, yeah. I had a brief stint in late 2020 or 2022. Then my dad passed away, and that, you know, kind of railroaded things for a while. Most recently, I've been streaming every day for almost a year now. So I want to get to a year, a little past a year. 377 is a Fibonacci number. So I'd like to get to that. I will. It's coming up in less than a month, I think. And then we'll reevaluate from there. But streaming, I like streaming, and we're gonna stick with it.
Oh yeah, bro. Yeah, it's good to have you as a member of the community ship stream team as well.
Definitely.
Hell yeah. And this has been a very fun conversation. I'd love to do it again. If you ever need an emergency guest, you know where to go.
We are gonna do bringbacks, you know, so like we have had some people come on the podcast a couple of times, you know, see how they're doing years down the line, see what's changed for them, see what new ideas and things they have going on. So yeah, you'll definitely be an international degenerate once more in the future, for sure.
Oh yeah,
at the very least. And I think Beauty Nightmares has probably got a couple of her like little final questions.
Yeah, it's what have you learned most in life? What's like the biggest lesson you've learned in life? That's the only question I usually ask.
Yeah, I thought about this one. You can't get there from there. That's kind of a nonsensical saying from Abraham Hicks. Is like a law of attraction teacher. You can't get there from there. And basically, you know, she would suggest if you're in a bad spot, you know, you can't expect to jump to, you know, 10 steps up to a good feeling spot. The only way to find a happy feeling is to experience a happy feeling. So, you know, if you're in a bad spot, if you're feeling, you know, depressed and apathetic, and you know, you can't think of anything good to think of, you gotta find, you know, just the tiniest bit of good information to focus on and kind of get that snowball rolling down the positive side of the hill. You know, for me, there's a really rough period in 2020 when I started learning about this kind of thing, and I would look at just this tiny piece of molding that I fixed in my bathroom, and I was like, you know, it's this stupid tiny piece of molding, but you know, I fixed it. I can be proud of it, and that's like the one little good thing that I would latch onto. So, you know, if you're feeling bad, you know, you gotta go. She'll say you gotta go general. You know, appreciate the, you know, having some food in the fridge or a bed to lie down in, or the feeling of warm water across your wrists as you wash your hands or you do dishes. You know, find some little nugget of positivity to hold on to, and, you know, allow that to be like a nucleus around which the snowball picks up momentum heading down, you know, the hill of positivity, or down the stream of positivity, whatever metaphor you want to use. So that's it. You can't get there from there. If things are rough, you know, don't expect to just kind of like find something to make you feel 100% better. You know, find the tiniest bit of thing that, you know, a single pebble can start an avalanche. You know, you need something to get the ball rolling. So that's it. You can't get there from there. It doesn't make it, kind of sounds stupid, but it sticks in your head, and that's it. You can't get there from there.
Yeah. No, I hear you. You need that first initial that first initial entry, you know, to be able to make the second one. I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like, you know, somebody telling you a joke and putting a smile on your face can completely change, you know, the trajectory of your day.
Oh, for sure, dude. For sure. That's a really deep answer, man. That's probably like the most well thought deep answer we've had to that question. I don't think Beauty Nightmares listened to a single part of the answer. She needs to sneeze.
I've been sneezing for the last 5 minutes.
I was trying to find my raid target that I had in mind is actually started playing Warzone now, so we're probably gonna have to find a different raid target. But yeah, what we'll do is I'll wrap up the recording now. Thank you so much, Hi-Fi. I appreciate you coming on as a guest. Thank you, Beauty Nightmares, my wonderful co-host. And yeah, we will be getting this episode up there on the YouTube for tonight. Big shout out to the whole of the community ship and all of the legends that have come to chat and add ideas, ask questions, and keep us company whilst we shoot the shit over here on the International Degenerates Podcast. And we will be back next week with guest Northy, special guest Northy, which is going to be an interesting episode. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate every single last one of you, and we'll catch you for the next one. And check us out on YouTube. Peace.